sport. We've got a lot to talk about today, and it's going to be looking at we're going to be looking at an overview or a review of all that we have been through in the world of sports. Once more, I say welcome to the show this beautiful afternoon. It is the marathon edition of Today's Sports Live, right here on your premium news talk and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM. My name is Osasin Hewen. As you all know, I'll be the man behind this console right now to drive you through this amazing and exciting experience in the world of sports. We're going to be with you from now up until 6 p.m., where the news updates will be coming your way. And you know how we do it on Sundays. We get to start with other sports, talk other sports from now to 3:30, where we switch things to look at what's happening in the world of football from the foreign scene. And then by 4:30, we move into talking football from the Nigerian scene. I know a lot of you will want to talk about Nigerian football. If you did see that game yesterday, it looked like the Super Eagles coming back to life. Yes, they did come back to life in that one, defeating Tunisia, the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, by 3-2. It was actually 3-0, but from nowhere, things just happened, and it got back to 3-2. But thank God, the Super Eagles of Nigeria were able to hold their own and see off that game, getting all 3 points from there and qualifying into the knockout stages of the ongoing African Cup of Nations 2025 right there in Morocco. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't be doing this alone. I've got my colleagues right here with me in the studio, and together we swear on our honors to give you the best experience you can get coming from the world of sports. There is Alex Kabari, and there is also Ovie Wallace right here with me in the studio. I'll start with Alex Kabari. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to you, Osas. Happy Sunday. Good afternoon to Ovie too, and of course, good afternoon to our lovely listeners. I know you are itching to talk about the Super Eagles match yesterday. All eyes were on it, but of course, we have to follow status quo and talk about. There's still a whole lot to talk about. We want to recap how the year has gotten. Plus, of course, for the tennis lovers, the Australian Open is near, so we want to also see how we can preview the oncoming tennis season, tournaments back to back. There's still other stuff from athletics we are going to also be looking at. So it's a whole lot to talk about, but of course the central attention is always going to be that Super Eagles time, and of course you get that chance when we get to that period. We definitely cross it. But of course it's always a pleasure to be on the show, Osas, on this marathon edition, and well, sit tight and enjoy the rest of it.
All right, sit tight and enjoy the rest of it. And Ovie Wallace is just seated next to him. I know he's also wanting to tell you to sit tight and enjoy the rest of the show. But Ovie, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Sas. Happy Sunday. Good afternoon to Alex, and it's always nice to be here on a Sunday talking sports. As you said, everyone is itching to talk about Super Eagles. They've safely qualified to the round of 16. So it's all good. Everyone's rosy. A beautiful performance from them yesterday. At least they were able to hold out to 3-2 win against Tunisia. But it's other sports to talk about today: Formula 1, basketball, tennis. Lots to talk about on the other side.
Athletics from Nigeria.
Yeah, athletics as well. The other side that just isn't football. Yeah, so we've got a lot. So let's get on with it.
Let's get on with it, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you are the last I would be bringing in before we get on with it, and that means you can be part of the conversation at any point in time. You can do that through the SMS and the WhatsApp portal. Join us right now as we get talking. For the SMS and the WhatsApp portal is doubled on 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. Yes, you can drop your messages to that platform from the get-go, and I will be taking it as we go on the show. For the phone line, I'll be throwing it open later on the show. It is 0810 9510 951. That is 0810 9510 951. Remember, you can also join us on our social media handles, or through our social media handles. On YouTube, we are live at Today95.1fm, at Today95.1fm. So you can go there, subscribe, and you see us live, and everything we're doing right here, you can also join as well. And on Facebook, we are at Today95.1fm, today at Today95.1fm. You can go there on Facebook, search for the page, like the page, and follow every activity as it comes through on the page there. On Instagram, we are at Today FM 951, at Today FM 951 on Instagram. On X, we are at Today FM 951. And you can also listen to us via our website, which is www.todayfmlive.com. And you just go there, click the listen live button, and you connect with us right here, audio only. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot to talk about. As I told you before, now we're going to be looking at the year as it has been, the year 2025 as it has been in the world of sports, right from the Nigerian perspective, and then we go to the global perspective. And we've got basketball also to talk about this beautiful afternoon. So I'll be requesting from you to sit tight, get ready, join us on the show. Make sure you make it very interactive, as we will be here with you to give you just the best. So sit back, relax, and let's get things on the road after this timeout.
It's not my power, now Jesus carry me through the night. He did it again. Oh, glory rise. Every door I knock, he multiplies. He did it again. I testify. From zero to grace, I can't deny.
Hello, my name is Kanu Wanko, aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
My name is Gianni Infantino, FIFA President. For the best of sports, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
Hello, my name is Kanu Wanko, aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today 95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to business as we start off for today, reviewing what has happened in the world of sports for the year 2025. We start from the Nigerian perspective, as 2025 was a year of notable achievements for Nigerian sports, marked by strong performances in individual and team disciplines across continental as well as global stages. Not forgetting that in the year 2025 also there was an increased government funding for sports to 94.9 billion naira, which represented a 227% jump from the previous year. So what else did you expect but goodies when it has to do with sports? So I would run you through some of the achievements so that if you've not been really close to what's happening within the Nigerian sporting scene, you get really close to it right now as you go on with us on the show. So let's look at some of the achievements. For the first, the National Sports Commission reported that we made over 400 medals across various sports this year, and that is a huge historic one. Yeah, 400 medals won across various sports this particular year, one of the biggest that the Nigerian sporting scene has seen of recent. Then in athletics, at the 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, the one that ran from September 13th to 21st, Team Nigeria secured one silver medal with Tobi Amoson excelling in that women's 100 meters hurdles. And we also had Ese Brume in the same championship leading in the long jump as part of the 15-member squad that went to see that one through for Team Nigeria. Team Nigeria also went to Riyadh for the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games in November, and Nigeria claimed gold in the women's 4x100 meters relay and contributed to a haul of 2 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze medals in athletics overall. Yes, that's what Nigeria did at the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games in Riyadh in November. And leaving athletics, in basketball, we also felt the presence of Nigerian sport as the women's national team, the Tigress, was the undisputed star, clinching a record 5th consecutive FIBA Women's Afro Basket title in August 2025 by defeating Mali 78-64 in the finals held in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. And from there, that victory elevated Nigeria to top 10 in the FIBA World Ranking, a huge one for Nigeria in sports in the year 2025 also. And still talking about Nigeria's adventure in sports in 2025, wrestling was another point where Nigeria had their presence felt. Nigeria's wrestlers dominated the African scene with the women's team achieving perfection at the 2025 African Wrestling Championship in May. All 9 entrants won gold. Yeah, the 9 of them. 9 Nigerian female wrestlers, they all won gold, contributing to a total of 10 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze medal. From there, we go to Riyadh in wrestling this time. The same Riyadh, the same 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games. For wrestling, there was additional gold that came in from Nigeria in through wrestling there. Internationally, Stephen Simon Izolo represented Nigeria at that 2025 World Wrestling Championship in Zagreb in the 65 kg styles. But he gave a good account of himself, but wasn't able to come in with any of the medals from there. So Nigeria had good representation in wrestling. Majorly, the ladies. Yes, the ladies were the ones who made us proud when it has to do with... In fact, the ladies this period, this 2025, most of the accolades that we got in the world of sports did come in from the ladies. And in table tennis, we also had our presence felt at the ITTF African Youth Championship in July, August. Nigeria swept gold in team events, eyeing a move to Dakar for 2026. Yes, because of that, they will be participating in the ITTF World Youth Championship in Dakar in 2026. And we also had the 2025 African Table Tennis Championship. Also, Nigeria claimed 2 titles amid Egypt's dominance. Yeah, when you talk about table tennis, you talk about Egypt. They are high flyers in African table tennis, but Nigeria was able to spring forth and also hold their own right there in table tennis. And it wasn't actually all rosy in table tennis for Nigeria. At the point, we also had the lows, and that was when the Nigerian boys on the 19 and on the 15 team, fresh from winning the African titles in Lagos, were denied entry visa to Romania for the ITTF World Youth Championship in November. That did take place in November 23rd to November 30th, 2025. The Nigerian Table Tennis Federation, NTTF, called the refusal unjust and discriminatory, petitioning the ITTF for intervention, and stated that it would not cover any related cost, and also stated that the prevention also hampered talented young players from competing on the global stage, wasting months of preparations and causing financial losses. Until date, ITTF has not replied, has not responded to no formal response to what the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation petitioned concerning the refusal to grant Nigeria's under 19 and under 15 boys visa into Romania to participate in the ITTF World Youth Championship that took place in November. But that's aside, we still have the positives coming in more than the negatives. And for weightlifting, it was Rafiatu Folashade Lawal, who was a standout performer, delivering a historic performance at the 2025 World Weightlifting Championships in October, earning praises from the National Sports Commission. Nigeria emerged as overall champions at the African Senior Weightlifting Championship in Mauritius, with women's lifters topping the ranking. And in Riyadh, that's the 2025 Islamic Solidarity Games, Edidion Joseph Umuafia added 1 gold and 1 silver, as well as 1 bronze, part of 6 gold, 4 silver, and 3 bronze in the sport. We also had our presence in powerlifting, as our powerlifting lifters broke records at the World Championship in Cairo, securing multiple medals in the process. Nigeria did not finish there. There was also a huge presence of Team Nigeria in chess, as Nigeria's junior chess player shone at the 2025 African Youth Chess Championship in Harare, Zimbabwe, from the 6th of December to the 15th of December. Key highlights saw Michelle Nwankwo win the under-12 girls. She won gold with an unbeaten 8.5 over 9, earning the Woman Feed Master. That's the WFM title. Yeah, she earned it, and she actually now is the youngest Nigerian to achieve that. We also had Adeze Ogosiano claim bronze in her own category. There was also the name we always hear, Deborah Quickpen. Yeah, she was also in that particular one, claiming her own medal in her own category. There was also Jason Nwankwo, the brother to Michel, winning his own. Zita Agosiano, Olakinton Elegbede, and Adeola Elegbede were all on point for Team Nigeria in the world of chess. Yeah, that was how we ran through the year 2025. We also had big ones in chess, where Tunde Onakoya, if you know him, the man who was able to play chess in the eyes of the world for 64 hours, getting himself into the Guinness Book of Record. He did it in 2025. He did it again. That's why we started with that song, so that you know how much we have gone in the world of sports. So that was for chess. Tunde Onakoya also had his name scripted in gold in the Guinness Book of Records, as in the year 2025, April 2025, he was able to set a record for the longest chess marathon, 64 hours. What's 64 hours? That should be, we've got 24 in a day, 48 in 2 days. That should, 2.5 days. Okay, 2.5 days.
3 days.
72 is 3 days, so 64, that should be 2.5 days. So for 2.5 days non-stop, he was in front of the chessboard playing chess. That was writing the name Nigeria in gold and lifting the flag of Nigeria so high for the world to see. We also had good times in badminton, where Nigeria topped the Africa Para Badminton Championship with 10 gold, 13 silver, and 17 bronze medals, focusing on sustainable growth. There has been immense growth in the world of Nigerian badminton. Nigeria also had their imprint in flag football. Flag football. Many persons might not know what flag football is, but it wants to look like something like rugby. It kind of something looking like rugby. So Nigeria also had their imprint in flag football, as they won both men's and women's titles at the inaugural IFAF African Championship. Yes, it was Nigeria who took it all in that particular point. Then that was on the, let's call that one on the turf, on the field, on the tracks, on whatever center where you have these games. For chess, I don't want to say on the track because it's on the board. So whether it's on the track, on the turf, on the field, on the board, that's what Nigeria brought to the table for the year 2025. On the administrative side of things, in 2025, the National Sports Commission conducted a major overhaul of elections for Nigeria's sports federations, except that of the Nigerian Football Federation, whose last election was in 2022 and is due for 2026. So every other federation saw the effect of elections. The process was aimed to promote transparency, accountability, and good governance, following a two-tier format, meaning there was a zonal election first, then the national election was conducted in Abuja. The NSC supervised most pools, with Nigeria's Olympic Committee, NOC, also in there as an observer. And how it all went, it went in praises as for the Boxing Federation, Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance, was elected president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, bringing potentials for financial rejuvenation into that side. There's also the Wrestling Federation, where Bashiri Adewale Adeniyi, being the Controller General of Custom, was elected unopposed as president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, pledging reform and accountability. We pray so strongly that he'll be able to do basically more than Daniel Igali did in that particular federation for Nigeria. We also had the Table Tennis Federation, where Dr. Adesoji Tayo was elected the president of the Nigerian Table Tennis Federation in October. And in tennis, we had Victor Ochie elected as president of the Nigerian Tennis Federation. In chess, it was Senator Ibrahim Dankwambo elected as the president of Nigeria's Chess Federation. We also had other federations where elections were covered. Badminton was there, weightlifting was there, cricket was there, and many, many more. But right now, what we know is that for the year 2026, every federation would be kicking really, really hard because elections are done and dusted. The administrative setup is already well defined right now. It's just work, and work in 2026. I won't tell you that Nigeria did not experience its own setbacks in 2025. In athletics, it was 2025 where we lost Favour Ofili to that defection. One of the brightest stars in Nigerian athletics, Favour Ofili, the 150 meters world record holder, switched allegiance to Turkey, citing frustrations with the Athletics Federation of Nigeria and the Nigerian Olympic Committee, including their failure to register her for the 100 meters at the Paris 2024 Olympics. So that one was a huge, huge setback. Favour would have been a very integral and important member of Team Nigeria as they move on for the World Athletics Championship, as well as prepare for the Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games. But she won't be doing it in the colors or the green, white, green colors of Nigeria. This time, she's going to be doing it in the red, probably green and yellow colors of Turkey. Yes, that's how we had that setback in athletics. There was also the overwhelming performances where Nigerian athletes had to tepid showing at the 2025 World Athletics Championship in Tokyo with no standout medals, despite a slight improvement over prior years. Additional administrative issues persisted, such as visa and registration failures in earlier events. And in basketball, the Tigers, that's the men's team, Nigeria's men's basketball team, finished only fifth at the 2025 FIBA AfroBasket after a quarterfinal loss to Senegal, which ended 91-75 in favor of Senegal, marking a decline from their continental dominance in previous years. Another huge setback there in basketball. So they usually say what the men can do, the women can even do better these days, as the joy in basketball in Nigeria is basically coming from the female side of things. So other notable setbacks we had in Nigerian sports: funding and participation issues. 34 qualified Nigerian student athletes were unable to compete at the 2025 World University Games in Germany due to lack of funds, despite aiming sports through trials. One huge problem we had in 2025 and hope that we will not see in 2026 is this, where athletes fight as much as possible, as well as possible, to qualify for events, and the administrators, the country, will fail them and say there is no funding for you to attend this event. It happened to Nigeria's student athletes, as 34 of them qualified for the 2025 World University Games in Germany, but were not able to attend due to lack of funds. And this is the same sports, I don't want to be critical now, the same sports where we had 94.9 billion naira allocated. All right, let's leave it there. There was also persistent administrative challenges, ongoing problems with poor preparations, mismanagement and corruption in federations. Example, visa delays, ineligible player issues, it continues to hinder the progress of sports right here in Nigeria, and we are hoping that this does not continue in the world of sport. But guys, let me bring you in. You've had a lot, both the pros and the cons, the positives and the negatives. On your scale, on your balance, on your beam balance, you want to weigh Nigerian sports. Let me start with you, Alex, on this one. You want to weigh it. You've seen the positives, you've seen the negatives. You want to say we did above average? You want to say we did impressively? Do you want to say Nigeria performed under par? Do you want to say Nigeria was just there when it had to do with 2025 as a year in sports?
Osas, I think right now you're asking for a grade. You want a grade of Nigeria's 2025 performance, and in all sports. Well, if you have to look at it from the pros, the cons, everything that we did well and the ones we did not get well, you'd expect probably a whole lot more. And that is just simply as a result of a benchmark that we've set for ourselves. We just have to look at it that way. There's a benchmark that we've set for ourselves. Where nothing is expected from a nation, then everything becomes a crucial or an important victory to you. But much is expected. There's that popular saying now, I think, to whom much is given, much is expected. So
very true.
At some point, you look at it, you're saying we had lovely times. Definitely, we've had moments during the year, a lot to savor. Like of course, you mentioned the Tigress. We also had our WAFCON champions to, we had ladies still, of course, impressing on the athletic stage, and it was just a lot of all-round brilliance. But then when you have to match it with the areas where investments have been made and a lot of funds have been thrown into they're trying to finance and to get it better, does it really go hand in hand? Can you look at it and say, okay, there has been a superlative improvement to the wrap-up of 2024? If we are looking at it, how does the calendar year compare to the previous years we've had? And I think that's always going to be our problem, Osas, because no matter how it goes, we are most likely going to look at it and say we look to be dropping. In a situation where you'd expect to keep elevating, the levels seem to deplete. It is not a becoming trend, and it's an unwelcome one because it's what we are currently dealing with. So in a situation, like we did say, where some good 4 or 5 years ago, the achievements and the number of things that you probably achieve across the world of sports in the sports industry, the number of achievements you're supposed to have is way more than what we are currently having. As much as you can say, yes, 2025 has been good, you are always going to want to point out that there's a depletion. When you keep going year after year after year, it just looks to seem like the quality is slowly being seeped out of Nigerian sports. But notwithstanding, still an excellent year. I mean, all around for the mutuals. You can only hope that with certain performances, first of all, you'd like to point out the WAFCON final. Of course, it's mostly our ladies carrying, like you said. Our ladies seem to be they seem to be shouldering.
I decided not to
they must have
mention
really
football anyway.
bulky shoulders at this point, because they seem to be carrying all of the load of the country, and they are doing impressively well with that. And you begin to wonder, is it that there is too much competition once you switch to the male side of things that make it hard for them to adapt or hard for them to match the prowess, the sporting prowess that has been shown by our females too? So there is definitely a lot of carrying by our women, our athletes, our track stars. If you go even down to the powerlifting stages, you go down even down to tennis itself, it's mostly the females doing most of the job. And of course, when you go back to look at your books, you'd see that they are not even the ones that are being invested in the most. More money is definitely pumped into the men's side of things. So there is an extra motivation that they are working for. They are working hard with. And of course, we've had instances even on the track where Ophelia had to switch her allegiance it just speaks a lot. It speaks a lot about your year when one of your best track stars has to say, oh, I can't put up with this anymore, and has to make that switch. It was a headline for a number of weeks, and you know very well that it must have troubled every sporting federation in Nigeria. So it's all round has a bittersweet taste, or SARS, if I'm to put it that way. It has a very bittersweet taste, a bittersweet feeling about the year 2025. Skeptical, very, very skeptical about performances. The Tigers, obviously, you'd expect more from them, and them not being able to. We also, if you still want to stick around that basketball scene, I mean, Rivers Hoopers at the Basketball African League, you know, sort of disappointing too, because from their fresh off their quarterfinal about some 2 seasons back, and then we also know that they have a 3rd place finish. They are not quite at the top yet, yes, but there's a pedigree that is being set for them. And when you point out those instances, it's not there. As you also mentioned that you choose not to throw football into the mix, because if we had thrown football, if we had thrown football into it, there would have been a lot of shadiness about it. But just to marginally touch onto that scene with the Nigeria Premier Football League, we've seen how it's been. Remo Stars, your champions, look at where they currently are on the table. This is the first time we are going to the CAF Champions League group stages in how many years? So everything all points at the need for improvement. There is always a foundation there is always quality. It's all about how can you harness it and get even better than you currently are, and that is exactly the puzzle or the riddles that we have to figure out coming into 2026.
All right. Okay. That's a very, very extensive one that you have taken down right there, talking about Nigerian sports. It's something that worries each and every one of us. But, Ovie Wallace, do you think by 2026, the incoming year, we'll definitely be seeing improvement? Because it's quite obvious that there was huge improvement from 2024 to 2025. At least one thing I understand, or I saw clearly from 2024, is that we went to the Olympic Games and we returned in shame. We didn't come back with a medal, but we took our dirty linen to wash in public. One of the results is Favour Ofili not being a Nigerian athlete today. So do you think, fine, we've not had it all smooth in 2025? It hasn't been the best of times, but it's obvious that we are seeing little strides of improvement. Are we going to be seeing a better time in 2026 when it has to do with Nigerian sports?
Well, I don't really know. As you said, the elections are done and dusted, so it's the people at the administration that are still the main problem when it comes to Nigerian sports. You have to talk about that. And we saw what happened to Philly. You talk about the good things that actually happened to Nigeria 2025. Look at Tunde Onokoya. I think that is an individual achievement. That's not really something that you can really label to Nigeria. Even the quick pen and the Nigerian chess geniuses, you might want to call them. You look at the women African Cup of Nations and the women's team, the Super Falcons. I think they've always been there. It was either you win or not for them. They've always been showing us that they've been good, and you say the government did what they needed to do, awarding them their due or giving them their due respect. So do you say it did cause some controversy? People say that the last or the people that won previous to them should have been awarded the same accolades too. Then you look at the Tigers. Back to back. I don't think we need to say the same thing. As Alex said, you don't really want to get to that football part, but we need to get to that football part because it is still the main sport when you're talking about in Nigeria. You look at our men, administrative issues. We saw what happened. We are not going to the World Cup. Administrative issues, coaching issues as well. The people at the helm of affairs don't want to put circles where circles should be. They are just mismatching where the puzzles should be. And it's not like they don't know how things could be run. They know, but they just refrain from doing the right things. We saw what happened in the Olympics, as you said. Nigeria just went there to kind of disgrace themselves. We saw what happened in cycling. Now we saw what happened in the track, the 200. We saw what happened in the relay, and now we've lost one of our athletes. we've lost one athlete. That's not all. We're also hearing about the issue of the AFN and the NSC. That one isn't even done yet.
Yeah,
that one is even
16th
still
of
ongoing.
January. The saga is still ongoing. By the 16th of January,
we'll carry our nonsense into 2026 and still be dealing with that one. So there really is nothing that you might actually want to put as a good note from 2025 that we can actually say. I'm not really impressed with how we've handled sports, because as I said, many of the successes that you're calling out, it's something that
Individual.
that has
Individual
individual success. Because when you want to look at
but it still rubs
success,
off on the entire national setup.
what rubs off on
The gold medals that have been won in the Islamic Solidarity Games 2025, is it Mr. A, B, and C gold medal? It's for Team Nigeria.
Yes.
You hear Nigeria won
the
5 golds.
but I can understand where OVA is coming from, because we heard of the saga with Toby Amusa and the rest of the track stars that we did send out shirts from a certain brand,
That's
shorts from
for
a
the
different
World
one,
Athletics
for
Championship
the
in
World
Tokyo.
Athletics Championship, of course, and the kits and the sponsorship deals that they had and how sketchy it was. Toby Amusa made a video and she was being asked to take it down. So at the end of it all, she goes ahead to win Nigeria a medal.
Right.
That just speaks a platform that while all of this is going on behind the scene, her individual brilliance shone through. But of course, she represents Nigeria, so it's always going to be a win for Nigeria. But then there's the backstory. Are they really treating these guys right? So you can understand where he's coming from when he's saying some people's some athletes' individual prowess will always outshine whatever backstory is going on.
So for me, I believe heading into 2026, there's still going to be a lot of work to do. We're looking at the federations and, as you said, new heads there, how they are going to be able to delegate the work, how they are going to be able to carry out their work effectively. Because if nothing is carried out the right way, if nothing is done the right way, it's just going to be recycling. By the end of 2026, we're still going to be talking about the same thing, no improvements. I know, because you can't be talking about improvements without something tangible. You need to see evidence that yes, you're actually working. Now you look at the footballing sector for the men, because I think our women, we don't even need to speak for them. I think them winning or going for Mission X and already qualifying, it can pardon them for 2-3 years. But I don't think that's going to be possible. But you look at the men, men's side of things, what's happening in the glass house, no, it's just rowdy, nothing to really show for it. The administrators, they said that we even had, they were talking about these people being paid, this person not being paid. It was not before long that we saw that Chel was not meant to be paid. That Chel hadn't been paid for 3 months.
I don't want.
Yeah,
this is definitely. There is a lot.
There's
It's going to
too
drag
much
us towards football.
There's too much.
tragic,
Okay. Let's not even go to football. We already talked about athletics. Look at basketball again now. The Tigers did not have enough training time before they went for their tournament. No training camp before their tournament. Who is meant to be doing that? It's not meant to be the NBBF. And you just thank God the Tigers. Now I say it's individual brilliance. The Tigers. You look at Coach Rena Wakama and the girls. She picked a good team. She knew what our girls could do, and they delivered. The Tigers, knowing that the coming from Mohamed Abdulrahman and the rest, went to FIBA, the AfroBasket FIBA, and nothing to show for her, and then nothing to show for it. So it's not even football. Even if we want to bring from different sports, there's always something negative, especially from the men's side of the negative. I think the only thing that you can really bring is our wrestling and our weightlifting. That you say yes, Nigeria is there, but then again, we are very good when it comes to that. And our Paralympics as well too. I think you have to give those guys their flowers too. They are one of the people that are actually carrying Nigeria on its back when it comes to showing medals or giving the country its medals. And so when you want to look at the various main sports, you talked about table tennis now. Our athletes not having passports or whatsoever. So who is meant to be doing that? It's still the federation. So if we want to say let's leave football outside, we can still bring 10, 20 or 100 things that are still not done right in Nigeria. So hopefully 2026 can be better. That's just all we can hope for. There's nothing that you can see. You look at Nigeria bidding for different tournaments. I think from 2026 we should start improving infrastructure and the rest. That's also something that we really need to work on, infrastructure and the rest, so we can now start getting hosting rights. We talked about maybe F1 being hosted in Nigeria. How possible is
You're
how
going too
possible
far
is that
now.
going to
You're
be?
going too
Okay,
far.
let's not even go to that. What was the bidding war that we lost to India? What tournament was
Commonwealth.
that? The
Was
Commonwealth,
that
yeah.
India? Yeah,
It was
Commonwealth, the Commonwealth hosting right.
Yeah, it's a common hosting right. We lost to India as well. So you're looking at, can we really host the AFCON once again? So some people are saying yes, we can host the AFCON once again, but we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the security, we don't have anything to be able to host the AFCON once again. Not even talking of the Chan. The Chan. I don't think we can even host the Chan effectively. Well, they've already scrapped it going from next year or so. So, no, the new Nations League that is coming in. The AFCON once every 4 years. The reason why they put it once every 4 years, so it can give nations effective time to be able to plan and get themselves right. I think Nigeria, even if we give them 8 years, they still won't be able to do it if we still have the same people leading or being the shepherd leading Nigerian sports into the pasture. If we do not have the right people leading us, even if they give us 8 years, we'll still want to be able to prepare very well.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard all that we've talked about. We have we have reviewed what we have got for sports in the year 2025 as regards Nigerian sports from every angle. All the positives we have looked at, as well as the setbacks that we have had. Where do you place Nigerian sports in 2025? Do you think it's an above average performance? Yeah, when you place the positives and the negatives on your weighing scale, do you think it's a positive? The positives will outweigh the negatives. Do you think that they performed above average, or would you rate Nigerian sports below average performance, not impressive performance? You could share your thoughts with us right now via the SMS and the WhatsApp portal 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. You could also call in and air your thoughts with us right now. The phone line I have thrown open right now to take your reaction. 0810 951 951. Yes, 0810 951 951. Yeah, the phone line is open right now. What do you think of Nigerian sports? We're about ending the year, 3 days to the end of the year 2025. A lot has happened in the world of sports already from the beginning of the year down to this point when we are talking about, or when we want to talk about, Nigerian sports. I've reeled out so many of the achievements made, as well as the setbacks experienced in the world of Nigerian sports, from the various sports, the various sporting events, from the various competitions where Team Nigeria had to be involved in the year 2025. What do you think? Let me hear you from your own weighing scale. Where do you place Team Nigeria? Where do you place Nigeria's report card when it has to do with sports in the year 2025? Do you think they did average, or they did above average, or maybe below average, not impressive for you? Share your thoughts with us. 0810 951 0951. That's the number to call to talk to us right here in the studio. For the SMS and the WhatsApp portal, it's doubled at 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. All right, 0810 951 0951. That's the number to call to talk to us right here in the studio. For the SMS and the WhatsApp portal, it's doubled at 0701 933 9962. Share your thoughts with us. Let us know what you think about Nigeria and their performance throughout the year 2025. Was it okay? It was just there, a 50% performance, an average performance. Do you think, they did well? All the medals achieved in the year 2025 outweigh the setbacks that we have mentioned in the year 2025. All the positives we saw with the elections have outweighed the negatives that we've seen with defections in the likes of Favor Ofili. Yes, do you think they did pretty well, or would you want to rate Nigerian sports far below average? Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Santos, calling from Mopanande.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, they actually had an impressive performance yesterday. They made my day yesterday.
Okay, that's for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, right?
Yeah, the Super Eagles, yeah.
Okay, we're looking at sports in its entirety, the whole, everything. Do you think Nigeria did well this year, 2025? Athletics, tennis, table tennis?
No. Actually, them being knocked out on the World Cup qualifier.
Okay.
It's not encouraging at all.
All right.
It's not. If actually they can be able to put the energy they are putting in AFCON to the World Cup to give us really fans more morale, more mind
to come out and support.
To come out and support them.
Mm.
You understand? But however, kudos to them. They tried yesterday actually.
All right.
Irrespective of the what is the name? They came back. Coming back.
2 goals return from Tunisia.
3-0 to 2 goals. They actually did well. Both teams did well actually. But the winner take the trophy.
All right.
I'm happy. They made my week. Manchester United won their match.
Okay.
Super Eagles won their match.
Okay.
And Chelsea lose their match.
Oh, all right.
So,
it must go there. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Hello, good afternoon, senior man. I call you the senior man because you know how to handle things seniorly.
Thank you so much.
Compliments of the season, sir.
I wish you the same. Name, location?
Yeah, let me go. Yeah. My name is Andy, and I'm calling you from Alakaya.
Andy from Alakaya. Yeah. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Andy, are you satisfied with what has happened in the world of Nigerian sports? Let's look at 2025 as a whole. Everything.
If you say it, yes, to an extent, 100%. You know why I said 100%? Because I think sports, football, and other sports at large has to do with continuous competitive aspect. Are you getting me? So when you see competitions all over, around, it tells you, just like the Super Eagles match just passed, it has to do with you. After you play, you go back, you reflect, just like we're talking about. So without any participant in any of those sports, I don't think we can reflect back.
All right.
So I think 100% yes.
Okay, since we had participation, from your own point of view, since we had participation and we were competitive in every of the sports, it's it's a pass mark for you.
Of course, because there are some nations that do not come to those competitions, and at the end of the day, when it comes to ranking, they don't come up in that aspect. I don't know if you understand.
That's true. I understand you.
Yeah. So I think competition coming out yearly has to do with you looking at yourself, looking at the video. Just like the match, Super Eagles, I give them 75 minutes. They did very, very well. Just like when I told somebody, the first match, after much more, people were complaining. I said, look at these boys who go and look at what they have played in that first match. They will improve. This second match also, they will go and look at what they have done 75 minutes and they will replicate it more.
Okay.
Each and every one of us will show.
All right.
I think, hallelujah to the Super Eagles. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Andy, for your thoughts right there. You can keep the calls coming in 0810-951-0951. That's the number to call to talk to us in the studio here. You can also make use of the SMS and the WhatsApp portal. It's doubled at 0701-933-9962. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to today's Sports Live.
I called back Olu saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to point out something. Super Eagles has built the team around Victor Osimhen, which is very, very wrong. If you observe the World Cup qualifier, the moment Osimhen had injury, we lost the match. Each match that Osimhen had injury, we always lost that match. It is because we have built our team within Osimhen, which is very, very wrong. It means that if there is no Osimhen, there is no
Super Eagles,
which is very wrong.
All right.
It's not a good thing to do. So the coach should do
think of something.
Just strategize the whole thing.
All right.
It shouldn't be built in one person. Everybody should be up and doing.
All right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for your thoughts right there. We are not talking Nigerian football right now. We're not talking about the Super Eagles, but I just know that football-loving fans right here in Nigeria cannot wait.
As we expected this.
Yes,
we opened up with this. We said they were going to keep calling in. And they really want to send in their thoughts about how it went.
We're actually looking at other sports, how we have fared in the year 2025. Every other sport, tennis, basketball, cricket, and all the rest. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
Welcome. Name, location?
Chinda calling from Chinda.
All right, Chinda from Chinda. Welcome.
You rate Nigeria very, very high, above 100%.
All right, Chinda, please could you speak up so we could hear you?
I said you rate Nigeria above 100%.
All right.
Because these athletes and footballers, everybody, they are just struggling by themselves.
By themselves.
Yes, government, the absence of government, total absence of the government, which is not supposed to be so. Anybody you see, any Nigerian you see in athletes, track and field, football, any other sports, they struggled on their own to get to that
point.
So I tell you today, tomorrow, Nigeria, you rate Nigerians 100% in all ramifications.
All right.
If you add government, the government is supporting the athletes today, will do more than him. You understand me? Please explain the match. I did not watch it yesterday. Please explain how everything went.
All right, just keep listening. Definitely, we'll get to that point where we will explain to you.
To explain now. I never.
Okay. It ended 3-2. The Super Eagles of Nigeria went 3 goals ahead. In that particular encounter, it ended first half 1-0 in favor of the Super Eagles, and in the second half there was a second goal and a third goal. But along the line, the Tunisians had to draw 2 back again, and the Super Eagles had to survive through to ensure that it ended 3-2. Ademola Lookman was on the score sheet, Victor Osimhen was on the score sheet, and the captain of the side, Wilfred Ndidi, was also on the score sheet yesterday. All right, I believe you would have listened to that. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Welcome. Name, location?
Big John calls from Port Harcourt.
Oh, Big John, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Big John, good afternoon to you.
I would say we performed below average.
Below average. Okay.
Yeah, below average. Now, if you take a look at our performance in 2025, and you see for yourself that we didn't do as much as we ought to do.
All right.
Partly, the officials are to blame. Our athletes going without the required drug test, as a result, not being able to partake in the sports they've enlisted for. We saw our track and field athletes representing other countries and then winning some kind of medal for them, while our country came back without a medal. It's a shame. After 2 attempts of boxing wanting to go to the Olympics, the third one, it was a shame. Our boxers were caught doping. A very big shame.
Very
the national team didn't qualify for the World Cup. Another big shame.
But Big John, let me ask you something. In this case of doping, who is exactly to be blamed?
The authorities here are to blame. The coach is here to blame. You are in charge of some boxers. You stay with them in camp. You live with them in camp. You're supposed to check out their behavior. You are supposed to warn them continually. And I'm sure the NBF has learned. It has been ingrained into the NBF now. Anytime we're preparing for an international competition, you're supposed to be warning them steadily not to dope. You're supposed to warn them the consequences of doping. You're supposed to warn them that, look, if they dope, this is the shame it's going to bring to the country. You understand?
Okay.
But unfortunately, in boxing, we had a coach who himself, when he was active, was convicted of the same crime of doping, and now heading the team that will go represent the country in the Olympics game. So when that doping issue came out, everybody said, look at what is happening. This was what he was caught in his own active time. You understand? You look at swimming. I've mentioned boxing, I've mentioned athletic, I've mentioned football. Look at swimming. Just when we were thinking, even though she tried, the Oboro Dudu lady, I think, who won silver in the last Olympic, just when we were thinking this time she will clinch the gold, but it still didn't work out for us. Honestly, if you look at the sports,
that's wrestling. Blessing Oboro Dudu.
Yeah, Blessing Oborodo, I think she didn't get the gold. I think she won silver in the last Olympic. We were all looking forward to her clinching the gold this time, but yet it didn't work out. Now, if you leave the sports and if you leave our outings internationally and take a look at what is happening in the home front now, I want to use River State as a microcosm of what is happening in the federation. You see that grassroots sport is almost dead. No facilities, nothing is happening. Even the few facilities that were put forward by some state governors, nothing is happening. In River State here, the boxing gym is a museum. All those sports facilities built by former Governor Chubike Rotimi Amechi, look at what is happening to the Adokia Mesimaka International. People are even going to steal what is happening there. Look at the number 6 field. Look at the Jubilee Park that was converted into a long table. Nothing grassroots is happening. Okay. In River State here, there's no one place you can go and play table tennis. That's how bad it is. That's why I'm so happy that Shehu Diko is trying. I mean, from what he has said and him being in control, I think that our sports will improve. But I think he should put pressure. The sports ministry, the sports NSC should put pressure on the state governors, because if they are waiting for him alone, like he's waiting for funds from federal government, we won't go nowhere. Pressure should be put on the different state governors to provide these sporting
what you
facilities.
mean is the sports federation should put pressure on their
state governors, the state governors and the local government chairmen.
Okay.
You understand? See, if I was the local government chairman in my own local government area, Okrika, there's a place that we call the Aquatic Stadium where we play that popular Odom masquerade. If I was the local government chairman in my own local government area, I will call all the war canoe heads to bring out their best swimmers and organize a swimming competition where I will provide swimmers. I will discover swimmers that will be groomed to become national and international champions.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a place we call the Aquatic Stadium. You see that aquatic field. Get some people to put ribbons, red, white, blue, different colors of ribbons to demarcate the lanes. Organize the swimming competition. It won't take nothing. Get 2 or 4 or 5 fly boats, speed boats to be ready, just in case any happening. They can go in there and rescue somebody. When the water has ebbed, when it's not too full, you can organize a swimming competition. And you'll be surprised, the swimmers you produce that can represent Nigeria tomorrow. Every time we keep crying, we come from River State, Bayelsa State, Aquatic. Well, yes, you can't win any national or international swimming competition. It's really a shame, man. It hurts me.
Oh. So sorry, we just hope that 2026 would come through and be better as we look forward. Thank you so much, Big John, for your thoughts right there. We still have the phone line open, 0810-951-0951. That's the number to call to share your thoughts with us. We're looking at Nigeria as a whole, sports in Nigeria, and how well we have done. Do you think that with all I reeled out, some of the medals coming in and some of the positives, does it outweigh the negatives? Do you think that sports has done pretty above average? You can also share with us within your vicinity what you think is happening around sports, because we want to hear sports developing in the grassroots. Big John has talked to us about what he feels concerning the aquatic stadium right there in Okrika. If you also have something to share with us, you can do that through the phone line. Hello, caller. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon to them.
Welcome. Go ahead. Name, location.
Happy Sunday and Merry Christmas.
We wish you the same.
Yes, sir. This is one and only regular caller, Mr. Liverpool for General.
Mr. Liverpool, welcome. Go ahead.
Well, sometimes the outgoing year, I would say sports in Nigeria, particularly sports in my own side. So, they really try, but the real aspect is from our team, our female one, and they show working. We give times this is the record and the rest. If I want to, rate our sports,
okay,
rate it by the female side, but other aspects. Okay.
So does that mean we should even start channeling our resources to developing the female side of sports? We just forget about everything that has to do with the guys. Just channel the resources and develop the female side.
Yes, if it's possible. Yes. If you check history, during the time of the Pepper and Quacha, Met Arcade, all those church, all those things. 98, 99, when they are showing working, and up to now, even the new generation, they are still trying. We should develop mostly our female league. We should have a federal government or the sports ministry, they should power it, put enough funds. We should fund the league so that from the league now, we now get some players that we feature for under 17, under 20, under 23.
Right.
Our female is really sure working there for the male side. I will rate the zero, so to say. The female, they are the part of Nigeria for these 2 years. They really try. And I pray, come next year, we should do more. Because our men, they disappoint us by not qualifying for the work. No matter they have people for doing it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Liverpool, right there for sharing your thoughts with us. Ladies and gentlemen, you can still go ahead and share your thoughts with us. The phone line is open for your taking 0810-9510-951. And for the SMS and the WhatsApp portal is doubled at 0701-933-9962. And from here, I'm saying, women, oh yeah, you have done us proud in the year 2025 when it has to do with Nigerian sports. The ladies have given us joy. I must tell you, they have given us joy. We hope that 2026, the guys will try to reciprocate also so that it will be a balanced affair. We don't want to channel our attention to the ladies and start developing them alone. No, because that one will not even work. At this point, what I can say is impute more into female sports development. Let them represent us and do well. In every aspect, the ladies have been there. Do you want to call chess? Mitchell Nwankwo is a girl. Deborah Quickpen is a girl. In athletics, Toby Amoson is a girl. These days, when we go out for athletics competition, we all hide behind the back of Toby Amoson. We'll just have her in front and we'll say, this is Team Nigeria. The others will just hide behind Toby Amoson and say, Team Nigeria here, Team Nigeria here. That's Toby Amoson in front because she is obviously...
Because she's sure to bring at least 2 or more medals.
More medals. So these days, when we go out, Team Nigeria goes out...
I think the male that we can give will be Ezekiel Nathaniel.
He's still growing into it.
The medal.
This is not for you to not for you to win your heat.
Yeah.
Not for
at
you
the
to
moment,
win.
is he delivering the
He
medal?
won a trophy.
A medal?
No. Not a medal, an award.
That's an award. Yes, I understand that's an award. But medals, he will definitely win his heat. But when he gets to the finals, you find him wanting. Hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Please, don't defend. I cover Mr.
Go ahead, Mr. Liverpool.
Yeah, I think it's said that our female basketball won.
Yes. That was in August. They won their 5th title, FIBA basketball title.
Oh, what are we saying? As you say now, all the women they should not turn into the female. But if I'm rating it 10% or 100%, they should put almost, let's say, if it's possible, 50-50. Because the men, they are not showing working at all. Our team, they are really trying. They are more than what we expect.
Right.
Than the men. And this year, I rate them number 1 in Nigeria, number 1 in Africa. Although anything concerns sports aspect. And then for the league, I think one of our league. Them represent us. Is it Bayelsa United?
Yes, that was Bayelsa United representing Nigeria in the CAF Women's Champions League, but wasn't able to get into the CAF Women's Champions League proper. I think they stopped in the preliminary rounds.
Yes, it's why I said
the WAFU B rounds. Yes.
It's why I said the people that is in charge in our club, they should put more effort in our female league. They should put more effort, put resources, so that this Champions League of Excellence will go far. Even come next year, they will even in the Champions League. They are really trying. They are number 1.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Liverpool, for your thoughts right there. On our screens, ladies and gentlemen, we have the game between Gabon and Mozambique, yes, and Mozambique has just taken the lead over Gabon, 1-0. Remember that Gabon was beaten by Cameroon, so if they lose this game, it's bye-bye to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He will flip at home and not in the African Cup of Nations because 2 losses cannot guarantee you a passage into the knockout phase. I don't even think a best third place team would even be for this realistic for
Would
them.
you say it's realistic? Because I think their next game is Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote d'Ivoire.
After this, so
if you can't beat
Cameroon,
yes, if you can't beat Cameroon, you can't beat Mozambique. Then can you beat Cote d'Ivoire?
Yeah.
The answer should definitely be no. But right now, Gabon are losing or are trailing Mozambique by. It's a penalty. It's obviously a penalty.
Penalty.
Obviously a penalty. So a chance to make it 2-0. A yellow card given to Manga, the captain of the side, the number 5 jersey for Gabon, as a penalty would be taken by Mozambique. That was really a poor defensive play there. And he pulled the shirt. He pulled the shirt of the Mozambique winger there, and I would say, where did you learn your defending from? Now there's a chance for Mozambique to go 2 goals ahead against Gabon. We'll definitely be updating you with happenings and events coming from that particular center. Right now it is still 1-0 in favor of Mozambique against Gabon, as the African Cup of Nations 2025 continues to move ahead. So, but we are looking at still talking about what's happening with sports right here in Nigeria. A lot of persons are very, very much appreciative of what the ladies have done for Nigerian sports. We hope that the guys would reciprocate in the year 2026. But hopefully, we expect that we have a brighter year in 2026 in Nigerian sports. But for now, we're going to be moving ahead, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll look at the review. We're still looking at the review. We're looking at review coming from sports in 2025 from the global scene. So 2025 delivered an unforgettable mix of historic breakthroughs, as well as dominant performance and record-breaking moments across global sports. Women's competitions took center stage with major World Cups in cricket and rugby, while tennis rivalries intensified, motorsports crowned a new champion, and athletics showcased global talents. But we're going to be picking some. We can't go through all of them, but we'll pick the major ones that you're conversant with, and the major ones that we can relate with. So we'll start off with tennis. But before we start off, it's time for Mozambique to go ahead or stay back, and Mozambique have made it 2-0. They lead
the
Gabon.
sporting man Jenny Katamu gives them a 2-0 lead, and it looks like Aubameyang might be heading back to Marseille pretty earlier than expected.
He'll be flipping back,
and I'm sure the Marseille fans will be so elated with that. You know, you get to that point where you're almost wishing that your star player returns, and this is the only way he could possibly return. But it's 2-0 to Mozambique against Gabon, and with how defensively resilient they were against Cote d'Ivoire, I don't see a way back in this game for Gabon.
But this is Gabon, who had a very good run in the World Cup qualifiers. Were knocked out by Nigeria somehow in the playoffs, and if not for the points taken away by Eritrea, I don't think Gabon would have even bothered themselves facing Nigeria. But it's obvious that their football is taking a dip.
Yeah, I mean, there's no explanation to a certain slump. It's likened to different African teams. I want to say Cameroon looked good in their opening game, but prior to that,
Cameroon had issues.
Cameroon have had, yes.
They beat Gabon with issues.
They've looked like they've had issues, a whole lot of issues. But surprisingly, in that opening game, they looked good a whole lot. And even right now, we are still seeing Mozambique with most of the possession, looking like they are the team to score a third. So there are a lot of issues with the Gabonese side, and I mean it's something that they have to address, and they have not addressed it in this tournament, which means they might just be heading home.
Oh, all right. So sorry for Gabon at this point. I hope they find a way back, possibly, and would want to see Per-Emerick Aubameyang go further, but it is what it is at this point. 2-0 in favor of Mozambique as they lead Gabon right now. So going back to what we were talking about, looking at sports in 2025 around the world, we'll start off with tennis. 2025 was serenaded with the Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz rivalry. Mozambique. All right. 2025 was serenaded with the Carlos Sinner and Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz rivalry, a rivalry that would continue to dominate even into the year 2026. For the men's game, Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner split the 4 Grand Slams between themselves. Australian Open, Yannick Sinner took it. French Open, Carlos Alcaraz took it. Wimbledon, Yannick Sinner took it. And the US Open, it was Carlos Alcaraz who took that particular one. And from the women's side of things, we had 4 different winners emerging. For the Australian Open, it was Madison Keys. For the French Open, Coco Gauff. Wimbledon was Iga Swiatek, her first major on the grass court. And for the US Open, it was Aryna Sabalenka. So much expected from Aryna Sabalenka, but she was able to manage just 1 Grand Slam. And Coco Gauff, who won the French Open, says that she prefers a case where different people get to win the Grand Slam than the one that 2 persons will continue sharing it amongst themselves. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying,
unironically always throwing disses at the men's side of things.
I don't know.
We've seen pundits. We've seen there was a period where we were dealing with pundits that were going back to back about how we should watch more of the WTA than the ATP because it gives you entertainment. There's variety. There is no 1 or 2 person that will come out and stake their claim. Even Aryna can be beaten on a good day by someone out of the top 20. What does that?
No. To me, it does not make sense for Coco Gauff to even say that, because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, that does not even show determination on your part. That does not show that you're hungry, because who does not want more Grand Slams?
Exactly.
It just does not make sense. Imagine coming out and doing interview and you're saying, I like how the women is not dominated
by one person.
I win one, Sabalenka I win one. I want to win everything. I don't care about it.
If the likes of Serena Williams had this mentality, would she have as many as 24 Grand Slam titles?
So I don't know what is with this and saying they are not dominating. The women are not dominating. Sabalenka could have dominated this back to back. She could have dominated back to back years, just because of, you see, she wasn't able to do or finish well. But I don't really like this mentality, not just from, as Alex has said, the pundits, the women. You don't want this kind of mentality going forward into 2026. You're going to 2026 knowing that I want to win as many Grand Slams as possible. You win 2 Grand Slams. Yes, you good.
Let's even listen to her as she said it, guys. Coco Gauff saying that she'll prefer having that sharing in the Grand Slams than having 2 persons just dominate all the way.
Yeah, personally, and I think that it's honestly great to have 4 different champions, because I feel like all the girls have had a competitive year, or across the year, and I think that it makes the sport more exciting when there's multiple chances for something to happen. Although Carlos and Yannick are doing great, there's talk about there needing to be a 3rd person, and I feel like, just to make it more interesting, I think it's better to have different champions in the same too, but also I don't want to downplay anything, the rivalry that they have going on. That's great and exciting for the sport too, but I'm thinking long term, I think it's more exciting for me as a fan watching, the semis and the quarters, not knowing who's going to win, whereas kind of knowing who's going to win, but that just shows how great they are.
All right, so that was Coco Gauff there, as she says that she would prefer a state or a situation where different persons get to win the Grand Slam than just having 2 persons continue to dominate. And a lot of persons will say she's just speaking out of bad belly in our local palate, because if she had the opportunity of winning all, she won't say she would prefer to share it with the others. But that was for Coco Gauff. We had so many moments in the season that were those wow moments, and I'll be asking you, the guys in the studio, what moments did you see in tennis through 2025 that made you feel like 2026 was going to be a bumper package?
It's definitely, the highlight of it has to be, first of all, the number of finals played between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. In fact, any of the finals, which of the finals between these two
heavyweights was the most entertaining for you through the year 2025?
Roland Garros.
Roland Garros. It definitely had to be Roland Garros.
Definitely
that was
Roland
what I had
Garros.
in mind. I just wanted to hear what
Roland Garros or the roller coaster?
This was definitely Roland Garros. It was Sinner 2-0 up on set.
I'm telling you.
And it was
looking
Carlos
set
Alcaraz
to close it
on
down.
beast mode.
And Alcaraz went into the groove. Sinner led 4-2 in the fourth set. Had a double break up on Carlos Alcaraz. Went on to have 3 championship points. Wait, I don't think we are understanding exactly what this means.
3 championship
Yannick
points.
Sinner had 3 championship points and did not win the Roland Garros. It just goes to show you that's on its own. It's a marvel. Which other time in his career do you think Yannick Sinner will get to a point of having 2 or 3 championship points and not convert?
But what about Wimbledon? What about Wimbledon?
Wimbledon was revenge.
Because the beating was
Wimbledon was revenge. I think it was clear. It was so obvious. Alcaraz took the first set. Yannick upped his levels instantly, and from there Alcaraz was floored. He took second, third, fourth consecutive. Alcaraz had no answer. He turned to his coaching staff and said, "I don't know what to do. He is playing much better than I am." So in that game, everybody could already see what Sinner's intent was. He had Roland Garros on his mind. I want to take this one. It's like when someone has beaten you, and you're like, no, it has to end. I have to take one. And Gabon goes over. Is that Aubameyang?
That's the man himself, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He's not going to let this one slide. He would make sure that Gabon gets back into this, as he has pulled one back, 2-1 right now. It is Gabon, Mozambique leads by 2-1, and the party is on right now, as Gabon would definitely be looking for a way back into this one. But this was definitely a goalkeeping error there by the goalkeeper of Mozambique. Parried that ball and left it right in front of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who did nothing but finish it clearly to give Gabon a chance into this particular one. But back to what we were saying, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, best time in the finals between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just have to give that to Roland Garros, and I like the levels at which they are currently competing at. Everyone in the tennis game, I like the levels, and it makes everybody wants to sit up. There is a desire when you play them. I think the goal is given. Okay, it has stood, and it was a much needed goal before halftime. I mean, talking about the Gabon versus Mozambique match, because that seems to be last action of the first half. If they needed to claw their way back into this one, Osas, that goal had to happen. But yes, of course, we were still talking about the ATP side of things.
Yeah.
And as a whole, not just ATP, as a whole, you mentioned tennis and my best moments of the year. And I just have to say, the levels of Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are superb. They are exceptionally wonderful. It is what we craved for when we saw, since we last saw the likes of Roger and Rafael and Novak too. So to have someone that can come in there and replicate that sort of success and that sort of rivalry is what the tennis world really needed. There's always a sense of stability around the women's game. Is Coco playing well today? She'll win. Is Iga playing well today? She'll win. If they are not playing well, you know what to expect. Yannick on his bad day still beats almost anyone, barring Carlos, almost anyone in the ATP section. It speaks a lot about levels. You could come and see Yannick having double faults up and down, maybe let's say quite a number of them, having a number of errors, unforced errors, and he'll still go ahead to win in players in impeccable form. So it speaks a lot about the levels that these men have raised the game to. Right now, Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, completely unplayable from the rest. I was speaking in towards late August, talking about the run of form Ben Shelton was in going into the US Open. He won the last two ATP Masters 1000 tournaments. He was looking like the man to beat. Ben Shelton was on fire. I remember the final versus Kashanov, where he took the first set.
Yeah,
Kashanov took the first set, and Shelton instantly, I don't even know how to explain it, and just beat him in straight sets. And it was Absolutely looking like a man to go through. Beat Musetti, beat Francis Tiafoe, beat Medvedev on his way to other titles. Enter into the next tournament, the US Open. Sinner is battling with heat. He's obviously affected by the heat, which they had to start reverting towards night games, fixing the games towards the night. He's also trying to come back from that fractured shoulder. And he beats Shelton comfortably in 3 sets. What does that say about the level of
in
tennis
2025?
right
In 2025, this man Yannick Sinner had come under so much of criticisms. He has come under so much of tantrum throwing, so much of attacks. Remember, first off, it started with the doping case, which came through from March 2024, but it moved into 2025, where he had to serve his ban. 3 months ban, from February 9th to May 4th, 2025. He came back. Yes, I think he returned in the Rome Masters, beat everybody, but was beaten by Carlos Alcaraz in the finals of it.
3 months out.
After 3 months out. He came in, found his feet, was able to navigate his way, even in Roland Garros, to the finals. In Wimbledon, he won it. And I think that was after Wimbledon. Was that after Wimbledon or the US Open? We had world number 3 then, Alexander Zverev, come out to say, they slow the court, they slow the ball, they fast the ball, they fast the ball.
No, that was Zverev started.
Federer backed him up.
Yes,
Federer backed him up. That they're slowing the court. And I'm asking, I said, they slow the court, he beat you. They speed up the court, he beat you. They slow the ball, he beat you. They still carry you go concrete, he beats you there. What's the complaint for? The man also was attacked by Nick Kyrgios for the the doping, the reduction of the doping ban from 2 years, which WADA wanted, to 3 months, which himself and WADA had to. That's when I talk about WADA, I mean the World Anti-Doping Agency. They had to go out what we call outside court settlement. They settled outside the court of arbitration for sports because WADA had to drag him to the court of arbitration for sports to say, I don't like waiting they happen. This guy said the cluster ball, which is a banned anabolic steroid, he wasn't aware of it. Fine, the very first one was my physiotherapist, it got into his fingers while he was massaging me. That's the reason why it was found in my samples.
It was detected in his systems, and I think it was also the quantity too.
Yeah.
If you have that kind of story to tell, and tests are carried out, and it is not found to be heavy doses of clostebol, it's actually shown in minute parts.
So in the body. So it was concurrent with the fact that it was finger that brought it into. He didn't ingest it.
Yeah.
So now, the man has gone through a lot. And one thing I love about this man in the year 2025, he kept mute. He didn't attack anybody. Rather, he spoke on the court. Made sure he spoke on the court. Without a Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner would have been blowing, between last season and this season, at least 8 Grand Slams. And with that 8 Grand Slams, I think Federer will be shaking because in a couple of 3 to 4 years, he will surmount that 20 Grand Slams.
Well,
or 22 Grand Slams.
He's 22.
Yes.
He's 22. So imagine playing at your peak for the next 8 years or so.
For the next 8 years. So it's just to the celebration of the big 3 that they have Carlos Alcaraz right now to at least half whatever Yannick Sinner would be getting. But in 2026, we hope not to see, or are we going to be seeing much of attack on Yannick Sinner in 2026? And how far do you see him go in 2026? There's Carlos Alcaraz, quite all right. But these days, it seems they've signed a pact, or they have signed a contract where they share the Grand Slams equally. Is it the same thing that we're going to see in 2026? It happened in 2024, shared equally 2-on-2. I thought it was going to be different in 2025 because for Yannick Sinner, he had taken Australia. He lost the French Open to Carlos Alcaraz. He took Wimbledon, which he took away from Carlos Alcaraz. And we are thinking, oh, fine, this man is a man that fancies the hard court. And the US Open is the hard court. So, okay, this time it's going to be 3-1. But Carlos had to say, no, you know, go walk like that. We go still share him. the same way we have been sharing it. But do you see 2026 going that same way? Shared Grand Slams between these two newfound heavyweights in the world of tennis.
Well, I expect them to break more records. You're looking at Carlos Alcaraz, who is looking at the Australian Open, wants to get it and complete, be the youngest person to win a Grand Slam, and that will be younger than Rafael Nadal, who currently holds the record. And then you're looking at the Roland Garros, who, as we always say, it's the prince of tennis. You call Carlos Alcaraz, it's already his. So if he can already get those two, Wimbledon is also a court that favors him. It might be possible that he might get 3 and leave the US Open for Yannick Sinner. But it's Yannick Sinner we are talking about. Both of them, as you said, they've both shared the court or shared the trophies this season. Last season, it's been just both of them running the show. Every final, it's been them, from the Australian Open to the ATP finals in Turin. It's just been both of them. And I expect to see more of it next season, unless we can see someone that can a third leg. And who can we call? I think Ben Shelton is the only one that's rising. But as Alex has said, even with a broken shoulder, Carlos Alcaraz, Sinner was still able to beat him. So that does not really make any sense. That shows that this man is not even human at all. And you have to look at the kind of person that might push him to that edge that, okay, even with an injury, I can say, okay, maybe I might have to sit down because it might aggravate more than this. You're looking at, he played, he had an injury in that Australian Open match. That Roland Garros match against Carlos Alcaraz. I think after that match, he had to sit out the next tournament. If it was someone, if he was playing someone like, who am I going to call? Maybe Francesca, or maybe Zverev, or Kaspar Ruud, or Rooney, I don't think he would have pulled out, knowing that right. I can actually beat these people even with a broken hand, even with an ankle injury. You look at someone like Djokovic. Djokovic was able to at least win the Olympics even while recovering from an injury that he had. Okay. But when it came push to shove, he couldn't handle, or he couldn't keep up with the pace. The pace with Alcaraz and the rest. So I still, as you said, they are still young. We still expect them to be running the show. Okay. The only people that could have been challenging them are not going to be sure, unless maybe Djokovic, he's still going to be there. But right now, I think it's just fun for him. He just wants to just enjoy tennis at this point. He just wants to enjoy tennis and see how it works out. I don't see him breaking that elusive 25th. So is it
the young man is still very young. Why are you saying Djokovic? Okay, you mean Djokovic?
Yes, Djokovic.
Okay, no, I thought you were talking about Yannick Sinner.
No, not Yannick Sinner.
Okay, but you don't see him surpassing, getting 25 Grand Slams.
No, I don't see him getting that 25th.
I think he has just 2026. After 2026, if he doesn't get it,
2026 is even still long. I give him to half of the year.
If he doesn't get it in 2026, then it's going to be next time again.
He only has 2 shots, because Australian Open was his court before, but now it's now looking like the young ones are getting it. Wimbledon was also another court that favored him, but it's not more looking like that anymore. So you're looking at those 2 and Grand Slams as those he has not participated in back-to-back ATP finals in Turin. Showing that this thing don't already pass me. As I said, I think he's just in it for fun. He just wants to say, I'm just enjoying tennis at this point in time.
All right. And
let's just see how far it can take me.
All right, that's for Novak Djokovic. What do you expect of Novak Djokovic in 2026? Do you think that the Serbian can go all the way and maybe get that 25th Grand Slam, then he can rest at the end of the day? Or do you think he will just go through 2026 the way he went through 2025 and at the end of the day just retire? You can share your thoughts with us. The SMS and the WhatsApp portal is there, 0701-933-9962. That is 0701-933-9962. For the phone line, it's still open, 0810-9510-951. You could call and share your thoughts with us. Do you think that Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner will go into 2026 and share the Grand Slams again to appease between themselves? Or do you think that Novak Djokovic has a stake in one Grand Slam in 2026? Can he bounce back and get one Grand Slam to settle his case, make it 25, then retire and go and have his rest. Yeah, before we leave talking tennis, let's look at how injuries talked or washed into 2025. 2025 was marred by so much of injuries. We saw it very, very evident. Jack Draper right now is the latest of them all. He's not going to be part of the Australian Open 2026, which will be starting on the 12th of January and ending on the 1st of February. So he's not going to be part of it. Injuries have set in again. But in 2025, we had injuries. The most of them, that the one that everybody would remember is the one that happened to Grigory Dimitrov when he retired from Wimbledon mid-match. He retired mid-match. He was leading Yannick Sinner. A lot of persons felt that if Grigory Dimitrov did not get injured, Yannick Sinner wouldn't have gotten past him in Wimbledon. But injuries came thanks to injuries. That's what Yannick Sinner will be saying right now. He was able to win Wimbledon for 2025. And Grigory Dimitrov had that pectoral tear. He missed the US Open as a result of that. Novak Djokovic also faced injuries throughout 2025, and because of that, he wasn't able to get a Grand Slam. Holger Rune, Naomi Osaka, Paulo Baldosa, these were all tennis players that went through injuries in 2025. Alex de Minaur also. So much of injuries, and players have been crying out. The schedule congestion is becoming a problem for us. That's the reason why we're having much of injuries. And these days, you're even seeing ATP tours right now being extended. The number of days for it have now been extended. We're seeing addition of new tours. You see the mixed, we saw in the US Open, the celebrity mixed double. Yes, the celebrity mixed double, because not the normal mixed doubles that we used to know. It's the celebrity mixed doubles. All of these, do you think is going to also impact into 2026 in what we see in tennis?
You definitely want to see a better scheduling of events, as you would want the tennis board to sit and look at the number of injuries. You had to mention, of course, the Dimitrov injury, because there were lots of question marks around question marks around it.
It's been a while we saw somebody beat Yannick Sinner in that way.
And then the circumstances around that injury was also controversial. If I have to take you back to that injury, he had a strain in his shoulder right before playing Yannick. So it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. Now he's required to take in as much air as possible, which is why he even mentioned that the clothes he put on that day, the shirt he put on that day, was lighter so that the material could take in as much air as possible. He needed air, he needed oxygen. 30-40 minutes before they always have a scheduled time for the roof to be closed. That is upon when the match is maybe overstaying. We know how long 5 sets can be, a possible 5-setter games can be, and then the fact that it's played in one of the central stadiums, and they need to cover the roof of the court. So the minute that was done, which was done 40 minutes earlier than the scheduled time, according to him, he said the tightness in the shoulder returned almost instantly. The questions came out again. They were like, why was it that roof was closed prior to all of that? It looks like a lot of excuses.
When you lose, you start observing your environment. That's one thing in sports. By the time when you lose, you start observing your environment. Look at Tunisia yesterday. Now they will observe that the number of red colors in the stadium was not as much as the number of green colors. No, that's the truth. When you lose, the Super Eagles of Nigeria won yesterday. They stayed till 1 a.m. handling press briefings and all of that. Yeah, that's it. The Tunisians will lose, and they'll look at the crowd and say, more tickets were sold to Nigerian supporters than Tunisian supporters. That's when they will see it. That's when they will see that red color was not much.
I mean, you do have a point, but we can't stop all those controversial takes. They will always come out. So it was a huge question mark. And then not only that, Yannick also had the elbow injury too, which he had to wear a strap for the rest of that tournament and went on to win it.
Yeah.
So the question mark goes like, if Dimitrov, who was well on his way to beating Sinner, had gone ahead to successfully beat him, what happens to the Wimbledon trophy? Because at the end of the day, Sinner ends up ultimately going to win it. So plenty of people like to put it as question mark on that trophy. For me, there is no question mark. I think you need able terms of luck, able dosage of luck and individual brilliance. He's an individual brilliance player, and then that day luck just had to shine on him. So he would definitely have felt like, okay, it has been delivered to me, let me go ahead and make the best out of it. But of course, still on the issue of injuries,
are we going to be having as much injuries as we had in 2025 in 2026?
with the season I'm seeing, and with lots of games to be played, and of course we know how these players like to rank some of them. Most players would sit out ATP 500s and the ATP 250s and likes of those, but some of them would absolutely not. Someone like Zverev, we were talking about Zverev the other day. The only way he was able to retain his world number 3 ranking is because of the fact that he constantly partakes in those tournaments, ATP 500s, ATP 250. You will find Zverev there. He would end up going to win those ones where it's not dominated by other world-class players like himself, and he keeps himself in those rankings. So when it comes down to that, it's all about regulate your season. How do you feel your body is going? It's an individual question, because if you follow the schedule and say I want to play every match that is available, you cannot escape injuries. If you want to play every match that is available, you cannot escape. We say this in football, we say it in almost every sport. No, regulate your minutes, the minutes of your players. We always like to say it, and plan around the competitions that you have. It's the same thing going into tennis. If you go into an ATP 1000 and you're not fully rested enough, coming off the back of a Grand Slam, my advice to you is let it go. Let it go and try and focus on the next one. So there have to be a way to manage those injuries. But the question about whether there will be more injuries in the coming year is definitely yes, with the schedule that they have. But it's the onus is upon the players now to find a way to manage the number of matches that they play next year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can share your thoughts with us also from the phone line 0810-951-0951. That is 0810-951-0951. What do you see happening in 2026? We've got the Australian Open just by the corner on the 12th of January. It will start and it will run up until the 1st of February 2026. And we are looking at the outgone year in the world of tennis. So much did happen. Shared Grand Slams equally, 2-2 between Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. For the ladies, no one person won 2 Grand Slams. Even the high and mighty Arina Sabalenka could only manage 1. There was Iga Swiatek who also managed 1, had a brilliant start to the season, but all of a sudden couldn't hold her nerves, couldn't replicate good form, and she fell right away and right aside. And these days, we are seeing injuries happen so much to some of the tennis players, no thanks to a very huge and very complicated scheduling that they've got in the world of tennis. Do you think that in the year 2026, we're going to be seeing lots of injuries also come through? And will this touch on the likes of Yannick Sinner as well as Carlos Alcaraz? Share your thoughts with us via the SMS and the WhatsApp portal. Is there for your taking 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. For the phone line, you can call in also and share your thoughts with us 0810 951 0951. Yes, 0810 951 0951. Let's move ahead right now. We're just touring the different sports in 2025 and we want to see how things happened for the major sports there in 2025. We're leaving tennis and let's look at Formula One. In Formula One, we had the high moments, and one of the highest of moments in Formula One was Lando Norris winning the 2025 Drivers' Championship in a very dramatic finale. Yes, that finale was a huge one. Went down to the wires. Lando had his chance. Oscar was there. Max Verstappen was also there. But at the end of the day, now Lando Norris got a big pass as he won the Drivers' Championship in a dramatic finale. In the season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina Circuit, Lando Norris clinched the maiden world title with a composed third-place finish behind winner Max Verstappen and teammate Oscar Piastri. So many of fingers were pointed as a result of that. So many persons pointed at Max Verstappen's co-driver Yuki Tsunoda for not doing what he was supposed to do. We had Kimi also come into that one at a particular point. Mozambique have made it 3-1, refusing to back down. A huge one there. Mozambique trying to see how to also guarantee themselves a passage into the knockout stages of the ongoing African Cup of Nations. And we're looking heavily at Formula One at this point. So much did happen, and Lando Norris at the end of the day won the Drivers' Championship. We also had McLaren win the Constructors' Championship. It's a 2026 that will be full of lots and lots of surprises as new regulations have come in. But I want us to look at the rookies and how they made the podium attractive in 2025. We had Kimi Antonelli get his maiden podium finish in Canada, becoming the third youngest podium finisher ever in the world of Formula One. And he didn't back down. He had so much to offer even throughout the season. And right now, it's quite obvious that Kimi will hold his seat right there in Mercedes. Even if he's going to leave Mercedes, he's going to be for something better. Ovio Wallace.
I don't see where he goes that's better than Mercedes. He's the future of Mercedes currently. Unless
not George Russell.
No, I said the future. Okay. The present is George Russell.
Okay.
The present is George Russell. As you already said, especially I think George Russell won like 3 or 4 races. 2 races last season, or this season that just passed. He won Singapore. Yeah, he won Singapore and he won the Canadian Grand Prix. Yeah, and he's already said that he feels that he can compete next season. He feels that it's already time that Mercedes can go for a championship. So, George Russell is the present. Kimi Antonelli is the future. But you're talking about the rookies and how they've performed this season. They have been utterly fantastic this season. You see Isaac, maybe Gabriel Bortoleto for the Kicksauber has done okay for himself. In a Kicksauber. You're talking at Kim. You're looking at Oliver Behrman, who finished highest fourth. He finished ahead of Pierre Gasly in the rankings, and Isaac Hadjar also she's getting that promotion now to Red Bull Racing, overtaking or going to be replacing Yuki Tsunoda. Going to be racing among one of the best in the sport now. You see if he can keep that second seat, because we know what happens when you get to that second seat. Liam Lawson as well too has actually done well for himself. He said it didn't work out in Red Bull Racing, but Red Bull bomb. He moved over to the V cab, and he actually did okay for himself as qualifying. Yuki Tsunoda, who was the person that replaced him in the Red Bull in the Red Bull seat. So I think going from next season, it's going to be a level playing field, knowing that everyone is now going to adapt to the new rules. Everyone's going to adapt to the new cars. So it's not like, yes, they came in, they've been using the same cars from F3 to F2 to the F2 and then transitioning into F1. So you see the vets have that experience with the new car. They know how to handle the new cars and no. But now,
who was that?
Hey.
Guys, you won't understand what we just saw right now. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang just did a Yakubu Aigbeni with his head on a plate, like unmarked, clearly in front of goal in the 6-yard box. The goalkeeper not in his line. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang nodded the ball away from the post. the ninth wonder of the world. Go ahead with your Wallace.
So you're looking at the new regulations for 2026. No DRS, the manual override, or you want to call it the overtake. They're going to be new aero changes to the front wing at the rear wings. They're going to be corner modes. They're going to be straight modes. So it is a new playing field for the rookies and for the vets. It's not like you're entering into a new system and you're like, okay, these people have this advantage, they've been here longer. But no, it's not like that. Everyone has to adapt to the new system. So if George, if Kimi, if Isaac, if Lawson, if those ones are able to understand and use the system better than the vets, then we could be seeing a new generation of drivers taking over the grid, because that's one thing that brings the new that makes the new regulation sweet. Everyone is playing on a level playing field. You have this experience using this car more than me. You have this experience here. You have this experience. You'll be driving this car longer than me. It's new cars, not just in weight. In weight as well. The cars' weights have been reduced. The tires too. They are more narrower, even though you see they are still the same weights. Looking at the floorboards as well too, I think they've been raised as well. The engine, the power unit being added as well. So everything has changed in Formula One. I actually want to see what the rookies are going to be bringing in to next season. I think Isaac Hajar is one of the person that everyone is going to be putting their eyes on, because he's moving to the Red Bull, the second seat of Red Bull. Can he actually keep up with Max Verstappen? And then looking at Oliver Behrman, who might actually be taking a second seat in Ferrari. There are possibilities of us hearing that Hamilton might, if he doesn't do well in 2026, Oliver Behrman can be taking his spot, because Oliver Behrman is a Ferrari Academy driver, and of course it's Haas Ferrari. That's the full name for Haas Ferrari. So you can say Haas are almost like the second team of Ferrari. So he might be taking over Hamilton. So that's if Hamilton can't bring anything to the table. Charles Leclerc might actually leave if the car is not, or if the car does not give him a chance to fight for the championship, at least be a front runner for the championship. So we'll see how it all works out for the rookies and the new regulations next season. But let's just keep our eyes peeled out for the rookies.
All right, keeping our eyes peeled out for the rookies is what Ovia Wallace wants us to do in Formula One in the year 2026, or call that the 2026 season. 0810-951-0951 is the number to call to talk to us right here. We're talking about Formula One right now. You have something to say about Formula One, you can do well to call in and air your thoughts. What do you think about the rookies? How well do they perform in 2025? Do you see Max Verstappen coming in 2026 and sweeping everyone off and coming back to winning ways with Red Bull? Do you think that is going to be a possibility? Lewis Hamilton also, is he going to have a more improved experience with Ferrari in the 2026 season? You could share your thoughts with us via the phone line. It's open 0810-951-0951. You could also make use of the SMS and the WhatsApp portal. It's doubled at 0701-933-9962. That is 0701-933-9962. We're still talking Formula One. We want to look at the controversies that did come through in the year 2025. 2025 had its own fair share of controversies in Formula One. Number one was the Red Bull's continuous swap. We had the one that tore everywhere open. That was the Yuki Tsunoda swapping for Liam Lawson. Red Bull shocked the paddock by swapping Liam Lawson for Yuki Tsunoda after just 2 races. Liam Lawson, promoted as Sergio Perez's replacement, struggled heavily with the tricky RB21 car, and Red Bull demoted him to Racing Bull for duty of care and promoted the more experienced Yuki Tsunoda ahead of his home Japanese Grand Prix. And a lot of persons were asking, did anything change after that? It looked like nothing really changed in that particular swap that was done by Red Bull. We also had the whole McLaren issues, internal drama between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Papaya, no papaya. The way you are treating me, I don't like it. Is it because I am not from this side of the world? No, it's because he looks different from me. It's because you have known him before me. All those were also controversies that came through in McLaren. And this controversy in McLaren almost cost them the Drivers' Championship because they were there trying to fight amongst themselves. Max Verstappen was sneaking stylishly through the middle and almost won the Drivers' Championship, if not for Yuki Tsunoda, that did not do what a brother should do for another brother, and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc that couldn't just keep the man Lando Norris away from him, letting him finish on the podium. It would have been a Max Verstappen who would have celebrated winning the Drivers' Championship for this season and continued on his path to making it 7. That should have made him win 5 Drivers' Championship at the end of the day. But that was a huge controversy. Red Bull were the center of the controversy this period. We also had Christian Horner, who was sacked in July 2025 and replaced by Laurent Marquez. Laurent Marquez, what did he do? Nothing. I think Christian Horner would have been, I would have even preferred. What were the improvements that Laurent Marquez brought to Red Bull?
Since Mac is coming in with strategy and all, I think since Mac came in that he has been able to give this push
for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, for Max Verstappen. When Honda was here, they were lagging behind. Mac came in, made the changes, came in the second half of the season, and they've been able to push stronger.
But was that not just the imprint of Max Verstappen? Because if you want to say Laurent Marquez came in, and his imprint was improvement, would have seen it in Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki, I think the car for Yuki is as we all know, it's not the same car that he uses that Max uses, and he has actually showed a little, at least towards the end of the season, he actually showed to glimpse. I think in was it Abu Dhabi or so, the race before that, he actually out-qualified Max, which that was the first time we actually saw him out-qualify Max. So the car has been kind of okay, but in Red Bull, there's always the number one driver. That is the issue. There is a number one driver, and the number one driver is Max Verstappen. He will be giving attention and be giving priority over everything before you start looking at Yuki Tsunoda. And it's not like the Red Bull car. You can't drive it. We've seen Daniel Ricciardo. He has actually won races in it. We've seen Checo Perez actually to do the same thing too. So it's not like it's not drivable. And you look at the regime, then it was under Christian. It was when Christian Horner was right there that we had Checo Perez, we had Daniel Ricciardo being able to drive the car. Coming into 2026, Christian Horner was the head. We switched from Liam Lawson, and we switched from Checo coming into this year to Liam Lawson, and then now to Yuki Tsunoda. So the second seat is something that I think they are going to have to put more work into, especially going into next session and the rest. But I think it's not like the Mercedes car where you have, or the McLaren you see Papaya and the rest and all, where both drivers are actually giving priority. Or you look at the Mercedes where they actually listen to both both drivers. But in Red Bull, we all know it's Max that runs it. It's Max that calls the shot. You tell Max to give way for me. Let Yuki. He won't. Yeah, and he has already told the team that they can never tell him that order to give way for his partner. Even if he's lacking in pace, he won't do that. It's better the person is stuck behind him in the dirty here. He won't do that. But then look at Mercedes, look at the other teams around around the grid that give priority to both drivers, even though yes, they do have a number one driver, but they still listen to you say it's not monopolized by one driver at least. So I think that's just the stuff with Red Bull. But I believe Laurent Marquez has actually made some improvements, and we'll see those improvements going into 2026.
All right, seeing the improvements going into 2026 is what we hope to see in Formula One. Remember that new regulations, we're going to take our time to go through all of that in subsequent editions of today's Sports Live before the start of the new 2026 season. So we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the world of Formula One in 2026, starting from the cars, starting from the regulations, and even the drivers. Yes, even the drivers and even the constructors. Some new constructors will be coming in, some that you even know will be switching engine producers and partnerships. Yes, there's going to be that switch in the new season. So we'll see all of that. We'll take our time to take you through all of that as we go on in subsequent editions of the show. But for now, we are looking at how 2025 fared, the reviews from 2025. We've talked a lot, right from looking at sports from the from Nigeria's perspective, to looking at sports on the global scene, where we have looked at tennis and we have looked at Formula One right now. You can share your thoughts with us as regards to any of the talking points that we've had. The SMS and the WhatsApp portal is open at 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. For the phone line, it is 0810 9510 951. It's still open. You can call in and share your thoughts as regards to that. We're still moving ahead. There is athletics for us to look at, and some of the high points in athletics in 2025 is Mondo Duplantis. If you know who he is, that guy is a pole vaulter for the next world. Yes, he broke the pole vault record set by himself. This time 6.30 meters. That was in the World Athletics Championship in Tokyo. I saw that with my own eyes. Armando Duplantis, or call him Armand Mondo Duplantis, did that. 3 consecutive world titles he has got for himself. What a dominant performance by the Swedes in the world of pole vaults. When it comes to pole vaults, it's just one name you can remember, and that name is Armand Duplantis. That was one of the high points in athletics. We also had Melissa Jefferson Wooden win 100 meters, 200 meters, 4x100 meters. She won a treble at the World Athletics Championship, 24 years of age, and she is, or has now become, the only second woman to ever do that, to win a treble in the World Athletics Championship. She is just behind Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, who did it in 2013. And here is the American Melissa Jefferson Wooden doing it in 2025. Big one. These were 2 heavy call that happenings in 2025, or moments in 2025 that defined athletics in 2025 on the global stages. And in golf, we had Roy McIlroy complete a career Grand Slam with Masters win. Yeah, Roy McIlroy finally won the Masters in April 2025 at the Augusta National, completing a career Grand Slam. That is, he was able to win a Masters title. He also won the US Open. He won the Open PGA Championship. He won the Open, then also won the PGA Championship, making it a round robin, making it a complete career Grand Slam. So he joins 6 players in Jen Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods to become just the ones, the elite group that have won a career Grand Slam. So guys, Duplantis, are we expecting anything big from him in 2020? Is he going to break 6.30 meters in 2026? Because he will definitely be part of the World Athletics Championship in 2026. Is he going to break it again? Are we seeing the Tower of Babel going up? He's going higher and higher every day.
He's broken his own world record 3 times now.
Yes.
In the space of 2 years. So I mean, what's to say he does not grow an extra inch or 2 in height? Because I mean, that is obviously very crucial. Or he does not improve his technique to help him scale the vault even better. So I mean, It's definitely possible. You don't want to write him out. You definitely do not want to write Duplantis out. I mean, he's doing some very should we say abnormal things. Yeah, because to set a record and to just keep attacking it, just keep breaking that record of yours is definitely not normal. So it's a fair possibility. I mean, it's not even a fair possibility at this point. It's something we definitely have to consider. He's a top athlete when it comes to scaling the vault, and of course you'd be looking at that record and saying, I set it, why can't I beat it? Definitely.
All right, that's for Duplantis. And for the man Roy McIlroy, he has completed the career Grand Slam. He did that in 2025. And we're looking at Roy McIlroy right now. We're saying, it seems this man can now be considered as one of the greatest golf players the game has seen. Is there a possibility to that, Ovie Wallace?
As you said, the man has completed the Grand Slam. And when you complete the Grand Slam, I think you already put your name as one of the greats. You see that in different sports.
Just 6 of them now.
Yeah, you see that in different sports. There, so you can count them in. You can count them in one finger. Or I mean, on one hand. You can count all them, even though they are 6, you can count them on one hand. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Use your thumb again, 6. But he's done it. They're not a bunch. They're not even up to 10. And you look at golf. It's a really, really hard sport to do. It's really, really hard to conquer. Really, really hard to be one of the best. And to do that, and it has eluded him for a long time. He has put himself as one of the greats, Tiger Woods and the rest. So I think the man can just keep on pushing for more titles to add to his name going into 2026. That's the plan. I'm sure that's what he's focused on, to see how many he can get to say, okay, it's time to call it quits. And he doesn't look like he's slowing down. That's it. Does not look like he's about to slow down. At least for every year he can at least get one Grand Slam, or at least 1 or 2 1 or 2 opens, yeah, or 1 or 2 of the big opens. So I think Rory has actually put himself as a legend when it comes to the sports called golf.
All right, that's Roy McIlroy there, as he's been able to complete a career Grand Slam. He got his victory in 2025 in Augusta National. That was in April 2025, as he was able to win that one and complete a career Grand Slam. The victory ended an 11-year major drought, marked emotional celebrations, and was hailed as the defining moment of the year. His first green jacket in his 17th Master appearance. The first green jacket he got. Since then, it's been a believing run for Roy McIlroy, and 2025 he will never forget. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the phone line is still open, 0810-9510951. You could share your thoughts with us, 0810-9510951. You could share your thoughts with us. And for the SMS and the WhatsApp portal, you could also use it. It is doubled at 0701-933-9962. That is 0701-933-9962. Go ahead and share your thoughts with us as we go through the review of sports around the world. We started with reviewing sports in 2025 in Nigeria, and now we are reviewing sports around the world, the various major moments, the various defining moments in the world of sports in 2025. Did I say 2024? Oh, 2025, I beg your pardon. Sorry about that. So the defining moments in sports in 2025. We are reviewing it, the high moments. So you could go ahead and share your thoughts with us. Any of the moments that caught your fancy, you could bring it all here and we'll talk about it. We are going step by step through each and every one of them. There's also boxing, where the year 2025 saw Alexander Usyk reclaim his undisputed heavyweight status with a 5th round knockout of Daniel Dubois in July at Wembley, becoming a 2-time undisputed champion. Immediately after that, he lost one of the belts, being the IBF belt, because you just cannot hold it and become that. What's happening between Gabon and Mozambique. I can see the Mozambican goalkeeper reacting angrily. What happened there?
Claiming a shove. At the same time, the Mozambique players are also looking for their offside call. That was a brilliant double save.
Double save from the goalkeeper
brilliant
there.
double save there, and he seems kind of annoyed that the offside call was not given, albeit a very tight offside call against the Aubameyang run behind the Mozambique lines.
Was that why Siniani, being the goalkeeper of Mozambique, was rolling that way?
It seemed to be. They've scored.
They scored. So it's Gabon, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang again with the goal, getting it, pulling one back. It's 3-2 in favor of Mozambique. So Gabon is just a goal away, or call that 2 goals away from winning this particular encounter. Is there time for it?
It's 14, 15 minutes plus lots of stoppages I'd expect. They've been, Mozambique have been trying to sort of dull the play down, so you'd expect a lot of stoppages at the end. But, I mean, a point realistically means they are going into their last game against Cote d'Ivoire with a fight.
Yeah.
Then it all depends on what Cote d'Ivoire plays out with Cameroon later this evening. So, I mean, it's crucial. We are going to watch and see how this group unfolds, but it's looking very interesting as it stands.
Very interesting as it stands. 5 goals already in that particular center between Gabon and Mozambique, as a lot still to play for. 14, call that 15 minutes of play, or call that 14 minutes of play still available in regulation time. That's away from added time. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Mozambique trying to hold on. Gabon turning on the heat right now. We'll keep you posted with reactions and event turnout. Call that events coming from there as we go ahead. So, but we are looking at boxing, and 2025 was a year where Alexander Usyk was able to become an undisputed heavyweight champion twice. Yes. And it was also a year that ended with a very controversial boxing bout. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Yes, a controversial one, but it could spawn into lots of changes in 2026 for both fighters. For Anthony Joshua, he took the opportunity to call out Tyson Fury. So 2026 holds an Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury bout in it. Time not yet known, but definitely we're going to see that bout come through in 2026. What he holds for Jake Paul, I don't know, but for now, he has to fix his jaws that were broken by Anthony Joshua in that bout. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are almost done looking at the reviews right now. It's time for us to move into basketball. I think I saved the best for the last at this point, and that is the NBA as it stands right now. The NBA is in action. Every other part of sports, Formula One is done and dusted, tennis done and dusted, everywhere is silent, cricket silent. It's only basketball right now, NBA, and maybe the African Cup of Nations with some part of European leagues, club football up and running. Yeah, but for now, most of them are done. But basketball, we had some games yesterday where the Phoenix Suns defeated the New Orleans Pelicans 123 to 114. It was the Orlando Magic who defeated the Denver Nuggets 127 to 126. Houston Rockets defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers 117 to 100. New York Knicks defeated the Atlanta Hawks by 128 to 125. Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Chicago Bulls 112 to 103. And that man Giannis Antetokounmpo is back and back for good. Utah Jazz defeated the San Antonio Spurs by 127 to 114. Is this the San Antonio Spurs that defeated the OKCs 3 times on a bounce? How can you defeat OKC? Then come and give Utah Jazz. Anyways, let me not be angry. Yeah. Brooklyn Nets defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves 123 to 107. Miami Heat defeated the Indiana Pacers 142 to 116. A huge one there between Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. But we'll just take some talking points from there before we get to switch things to look at European football for the Milwaukee Bucks, it was Giannis Antetokounmpo coming back and returning with the momentum for them. Giannis made a strong comeback from injury. He missed the early part of December due to injury, and he made that strong comeback with 29 points, 8 rebounds, and a game-sealing dunk that sparked a scuffle in Milwaukee Bucks win over the Chicago Bulls. The Bucks are showing signs of life, but trade rumors are still around Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're going to talk about that one. But for now, how integral is Giannis's return to the Milwaukee Bucks for their season?
It's not integral.
He's everything.
He's everything. Exactly. Take Alex. He's everything.
He's everything for them.
Like without Giannis, there's no Bucks. It's not like he's integral.
No, it's not completely irrational to say.
Yeah, it's not because who is there? Who is it Ryan Rollins? Is it Miles Turner?
But they survived some games without him.
Exactly, survived.
Some games, you need to look at the profile of games. They've been almost absent versus every and any top side they come up against. And those are the kind of games you want to win. You want to see how your team does against the top side because you're always looking at a preview for the playoffs. And when you come up against top sides and you find out that you're not even getting enough boards, you're not scoring, you're not doing nothing in the game, everybody looks lost. Who exactly are you turning to? You don't have a specific person to turn to, so it's always Giannis. We have to say Giannis is Bucks as it stands right now. And if Giannis leaves, it means, first of all, they have a job on their hands to try and upheal that entire team and see if they can rebrand the name of Bucks, because Giannis has been Bucks, Bucks has been Giannis, and if he leaves, that means you're left with a situation where you definitely have to bring back a team that is capable of competing and winning an NBA championship like they did in the 2020 season.
All right, but you're looking at it that who is there to play supporting cast? The last person that was there to play supporting cast was Damian Lillard, and they actually be able to win the NBA Cup. You could see at least they won the NBA Cup there last season. But looking at who is there now, is it Kyle Kuzma? Is he Rollins? Is he Bobby Portis? Is he one of his brothers? Nobody is there consistently dropping 20 plus points. Nobody is there. Miles Turner coming into the team. Yes, he's that big man, but the highest person there is averaging at least 11 or 17 points per game. That's okay, but for someone of Giannis that's averaging 30 points per game, he came back immediately, dropped 29. Dropped 29, and you're looking at what he has been doing over the season, dropping 30, dropping 20, 40. If there's no one playing a supporting cast that can give you, when Giannis is not around, give you 20, give you 30. We look at teams like the Los Angeles Lakers. They didn't have LeBron. They didn't have Doncic. Austin Reeves was able to drop 20. Was dropping 30, 19 night out. And that is the kind of team that is looking at that is really, really consistent. You look at Detroit Pistons as well. You look at Boston Celtics as well. Without their dependent or demand, they are dependent on who is there to carry the team. So as long as Bucks do not have a supporting cast fitting the bill to help Giannis at least challenge for an NBA playoff title this season, let's not forget this season. That's out of the game. Maybe unless, but they stay enough. They stay enough time. They can make it through to the plane. So let me not count them out. But I still don't see the supporting cast as being capable enough to be able to get him at least a championship this season.
All right. Okay. A bit of correction from the goal scorer for Gabon. The second goal. It wasn't scored by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. He scored the first goal. The second goal was scored by Alex Moketo Mosonda. Yes, a defender there for Gabon, as it still remains 3-2, 85 minutes of play, just 5 minutes of regulation time left, and Mozambique still leads Gabon by 3-2. Still talking basketball, guys. San Antonio Spurs, as I said before, they've instilled their dominance over and their control in that rivalry over the Thunders. Call them the Oklahoma City Thunders. San Antonio Spurs have been a major story after beating the Thunders thrice recently. Once during the Christmas Day. So they gave them a Christmas Day present. They ended OKC's long winning streak. I didn't see Oklahoma, did I say Oklahoma? San Antonio Spurs as the ones to do that. Yeah, they've got Victor Wembanyama in that mix, but I didn't see them as the ones to have been able to end that OKC's unbeaten run. Is it now a clear indication that OKC is actually vulnerable? Is it clearly now that they are vulnerable?
I think it's if you look at how the San Antonio Spurs played out those games, those 3 games versus OKC, in which they were victorious in each and every one of them, it shows you vulnerability, but it's tactically.
Okay.
Do you have enough players to do what the San Antonio Spurs went and did, particularly the last victory they had over OKC, 117-101, and then the one they had back at home in Texas, which was a 130 to 110 scoreline. It's the first time in we are talking in almost a year, OKC have lost by 20 points difference, and then they almost repeated that because the next match was a 16 points difference. So if you're asking the question about if teams can do what San Antonio Spurs did in terms of how they handled OKC, first of all, I believe that most teams have boogie teams. There are teams that are always going to be boogie teams for others. And you were just amazed, Osas, at how they were able to handle OKC, but fell short to Utah Jazz. I would tell you the same thing, that Golden State is currently 2-0 versus San Antonio Spurs this season. And so it's something about how they are able to handle different opponents and the kind of threats that they possess. And if you have to look at it intricately and you break it down, you'd find out that there is a reason why most of these things are happening, particularly tactically. There's a reason why when a certain team shapes up a certain way, they are able to beat a particular opponent over a certain period of time, and which is exactly what we've seen with the San Antonio Spurs and OKC. Now, San Antonio Spurs are able to field up to 5 players. I don't even want to mention their bench, but their starting 5, with or without Victor Wembanyama, has elite scorers. People that guarantee you. First of all, people that guarantee you
exactly
goes up on the offense, and they will guarantee you at least 20 points. On a bad day,
Stephen Castle
at least 15
is
points.
averaging 23 points against the OKC. So he basically owes the OKC.
So I mean, when you look at all of those, you add in the fact that the last 3 drafts, the obvious winners of the last 3 drafts has been the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
From Rookie of the Year Victor Wembanyama to Rookie of the Year Stephen Castle to potential Rookie of the Year Dylan Harper again. It's been an excellent recruit system from the San Antonio Spurs, and they are showing strength in their drafting system. They are showing strength in the years. We of course have to remember how young these players are. They are building something for a long term. So first of all, you have to give that one to them. You have to give credit to them. Then they've also been able to recruit. I mean, it's been excellent work on the sidelines to recruit De'Aaron Fox and let go of some people like Chris Paul. They needed, first of all, a bit of experience and youth around the team, and they've got that. Now they've also got hinge players off the bench that will do amazing things. If anyone told you of all their starting players, and then they'll tell you that Vassell was going to be the highest point scorer in the game against OKC, you will not believe it. But he's that crucial. I was speaking about this, and the only team I could liken them to last season was Indiana Pacers for me, because Pacers had the ability to keep up with them in terms of almost everything. First of all, the rim protector Victor Wembanyama makes the Oklahoma City Thunder players really afraid to go to the rim. Even an explosive ring general like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander seem to be sort of, is that a fourth goal? I think Mozambique have killed this one off. They have killed this game off. Is that offside? He does not look to be celebrating. A goal is scored, but it's instantly given for offside, and I am not seeing the offside there.
I think the return pass was. I think the pass that was given before.
Before the return pass. I think he makes a smart decision in beating his man first of all. But the situation is Mozambique has scored the fourth, which is currently being checked. He's He's onside and then back. And who does he hit? Oh, the offside. He deflected off a player in an offside position, but it's 7 minutes of added time, of which a minute has already been played. I think 6 more to play in the stoppages. Gabon are looking for a way to draw. Definitely, they are looking for a point from these games to at least stay alive in their last game versus Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah, that was lovely breakout, really lovely breakout. And Mozambique trying to hold on.
Are playing. They play beautiful football.
I watched the game versus Cote d'Ivoire and I was like, this is an incredibly talented team. Jenny Katamo had the chance to equalize, barring a brilliant save from the Ivorian goalkeeper in the last minute. So they actually gave made a good account of themselves against Cote d'Ivoire, and this is a really good side at the end of the day. But right now, Gabon are looking for a way out, and is that play on? Yeah, I think the referee signifies play on. But this is end-to-end stuff. End-to-end stuff. Mozambique trying to hit Gabon on the counter. Gabon are asking a question of the penalty in the other at the other end too. So very, very exciting stuff. Of course, the AFCON always delivers. And also we're still talking about the OKC San Antonio Spurs and how they are able to counter different teams. So I don't think that you need to have a scorer or two persons who can go up and put a number of points up the board for you to make sure that you get your victory done. It's perfectly fine. We've seen teams that executes that, but is it substantial at the end of the day? If you look at most sides or most championship winning sides, you'd find out that they have more than 2 to 3 elite scorers. They always have people that can go up and give good account of themselves offensively, and of course come back to do the work defensively. Now, if you look at the tactical switch, Wemby is asking in certain plays there. I had to stop and really understand exactly what was happening when the game was commencing, because Wemby asked for the run. The run of the OKC players are made to distract Victor Wembanyama, so that the minute he's in and around the rim and those runs are being made around that area, he's meant to try and pick up at least one of them, thereby giving Shea the freedom to the rim. But I saw numerous times where Lugansdort or Chet Holmgren will make a run across those areas, and Wemby will instantly tell his teammates, go and follow. It's like assigning someone else to that. Why? Because he knows that the minute I step out to kind of follow them, I've lost protection of the rim, and I will not be able to recover in time. Of course, we know he's exceptionally tall, we know his reach, and we know the distance he can cover with. I mean, how lengthy he is, but at the same time, he wants to be there. His presence alone is enough influence, because you're not sure if you are going to be able to shoot over Wemby. That's the kind of threat that he possesses in that area. So they were able to figure out exactly how they needed to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they showed that in 3 consecutive games. So it was a masterclass of a performance from OKC, from each and every one of them. Like I pointed out, you can barely mention or accredit one person. You can say it's a Victor Wembanyama led team, but you cannot say he is the main orchestrator in that team, because there's so many of them.
In the second game, I think he only dropped 12 points. It was Stephen Castle and I think Vassell that carried that team. So as Alex has said, that is the beautiful thing about the San Antonio Spurs. It's not just led by Victor Wembanyama. Everyone is able to put in their work. De'Aaron Fox as well. He went off in that last game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're looking at, although you see he currently has an injury right now, but in that match, the man dropped 29 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. One of his best games so far this season. So it's everyone putting their work in. Stephen Castle, Devin Vassell, you're coming off the bench. You have Harrison Barnes, you have Luke Cornett as well, another big man that is good. They have Dylan Harper, potential rookie of the year this season, as you're calling. So they've got good players, and it makes you actually say their scouting is their recruiting is good. They did well, you see, in tanking for 2 seasons. It actually worked well. They've pulled a good team, a team for the future. Team that you know that okay, this players, and now they understand themselves, they understand each other very well. They just need to pull in maybe 1 or 2, and they are able to get themselves to that edge. In the Western Conference, they are currently second, not too far behind from Oklahoma City Thunder, who have 5 losses. You're looking at them in their last 3-4 matches. They've lost 2 or 3 now. So the San Antonio Spurs have understood how to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, and it's something that is strange because the Oklahoma City Thunder, even if you beat them, they know how to do a spin back. They know how to do a spin back, and they're able to come back and get and affect you. They're able to come back, and they understand if you beat them once, they understand what the game plan is, and they're able to come back and beat you. But they haven't been able to do it for the San Antonio Spurs. And you might think, okay, it's to shut down Wemby, but you shut down Wemby, you see De'Aaron Fox popping out of nowhere, you see Stephen Castle popping out of nowhere, you see Dylan Harper as well dropping 10, dropping 17, dropping 15 points. And as you said, they'll be one of the teams to watch out in the playoffs. Okay. So now we've seen they are vulnerable. We also saw Minnesota Timberwolves beat them this season. So they've already lost to the Portland, they've lost to San Antonio Spurs 3 times, and they've lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves once. It's going to get to the end of the season, and we'll start seeing how vulnerable they are. They might be good defensively, and no, but as Alex has said, he has run out. He has told you the plays that San Antonio Spurs have made. They can lock them out offensively, and they can lock them out defensively as well.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would want to inform you that the game between Gabon and Mozambique has come to an end. 3-2, Mozambique defeated Gabon in that particular encounter. And we've got actions from the English Premier League. Sunderland currently up against Leeds United, 30 minutes of play, and Sunderland lead by 1-0. I think that goal was courtesy of Simon Adingra, if I am correct. So Simon Adingra has put Sunderland 1 goal up against Leeds United. Crystal Palace would be up against Tottenham Hotspur by 5:30. In the Italian Serie A, AC Milan defeated Hellas Verona by 3-0. Cremonese are currently losing to Napoli. 30 minutes of play, 1-0. Bologna will come up against Sassuolo by 6 p.m. and by 8:45 is going to be Atalanta up against Inter Milan. And that's how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially the time for us to switch from talking other sports into looking at what's happening from the European side of things when it has to do with football. And Alex Kabari is standing by as he will take you through that amazing run. Don't go nowhere. It's still the marathon edition of today's Sports Live right here on your premium news talk and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM.
My name is Gianni Infantino, FIFA president. For the best of sports, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
Hello, my name is Kanu Wanko, aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the football side of things. This is, of course, still TSL, the marathon edition on Today 95.1 FM. Oh, well, we still have the guys, of course, in the studio with me. I am Kabari Alexander. I have Ovie Wallace in the studio. I have Benjamin Mina. And I have Osas Ihiwen still with me in the studio. And, of course, welcome to the European football side of things. Still, of course, on Today's Sports Live, the marathon edition, where we are going to be discussing lots and lots that have been happening over the weekend. Well, we've seen lots of actions, of course, from the Premier League, which, of course, always delivers. I know a lot of you are itching to discuss everything Super Eagles right now, but just hold on a little bit, and we'll get on to that. Well, in the Premier League currently, Sunderland is at home to Leeds, and that match is in the 33rd minute. It's heading towards halftime. Sunderland took the lead some 3-4 minutes ago to Simon Adingra corner just from the edge of the 18-yard area, and well, they look well poised to hold on to that lead into halftime. So, I mean, for some teams, it seems like the players going to AFCON does not really affect them, because he should have been AFCON bound, but he's here and he's scoring for Sunderland after they've lost 6 to 7 players to AFCON. So, is that really an excuse? But that we'd get into all of that and many more, and we ask that you stay with us on the show, of course, and to get your thoughts and your contributions to all that has been said. You can call or text us at Of course, we can take your calls at 0810-9510-951, 0810-9510-951, when the phone lines will be thrown open to hear your thoughts and your reactions to everything that we have on our palette today for our discussions. You can also send your text messages on via WhatsApp or your SMS to 0701-933-9962, 0701-933-9962. Oh, well, we'll kick things off with Liverpool. We have to kick things off with Liverpool, where a certain man finally gets his first goal for the Reds. He gets his first goal for the Reds in the 18th Premier League game of the season. And while there's been a lot of speculations about him, his big money move to Liverpool over the summer, he's lifted off. Florian Wirtz is that man, as he scored his first Premier League goal, and Liverpool held on to beat Wolves 2-1 at a nervous Anfield. Now, just moments after Ryan Gravenberch's breakthrough strike late in the first half, Florian Wirtz raced through after being put in by Hugo Ekitike to poke the ball beyond Jose Sa and double Liverpool's advantage. Now, after the game concluded, Wirtz, he spoke on scoring that first Premier League goal. He said it was very nice. The feeling on the pitch with the fans around, I was very happy, and I am still. I like it. I was confident that I would score one day, but of course I wanted to start scoring and assisting earlier. It was like this. I have to accept it, but I just knew it will come. Now, his effort against Wolves was the sort of goal Wirtz had been expected to deliver, a product of his off-the-ball movement and technical ability, and his partnership with Hugo Ekitike is definitely looking promising as it stands. And Slot 2 also enjoyed that performance, and speaking in his words, he said, I thought he was special in a lot of moments. I think he's getting better and better, but he knows too that Wirtz needed that moment, and the relief inside Anfield was palpable once the ball hit the back of the net. So yes, Liverpool got the job done against Wolverhampton Wanderers at home in a game that started off with acknowledgement to Diogo Jota, late Diogo Jota, and had his kids walk out with the rest of the mascots, but they went on to dominate the first half, hit the post twice with Kevin McAllister and of course Hugo Ekitike too. But then it was total control as soon as they got those two goals in the space of a minute to go into the halftime, leading 2-0. They headed back out, and a Tolu Arakudare's header was parried out by Alisson, and he fell straight into Hugo Bueno, who scored to make it 2-1 and make it a nervy ending to the game, because as you'd expect, or should we say as you'd expect, Wolverhampton Wanderers grew into the game and we are looking for an unlikely equalizer. So they dared to dream, they dared to head to Anfield and look for a point there too. But at the end of the day, Liverpool held on to take a 2-1 win and are now 6 games unbeaten, which is exactly where we are going to start from on this one, Benjamin. They are currently 6 games unbeaten after their mid-season slump. We all know that period Liverpool had where everybody were asking, what is going on? Now, trying to pick themselves up from that slump, they've been 6 games unbeaten. They've had monstrous performances in this period, particularly the away game at San Siro to Inter Milan, which they won 1-0, and the home game against Brighton and Hove Albion. Clean sheets have also begun to start to show in their game that it's a sign that things are improving. How impressed have you been with the response to their mid-season slump, Benjamin?
Well, I think they've absolutely dealt with it very well in terms of the way they've turned out results these few weeks. It started by the last game they actually played out a 3-0 draw against them, struggling side Leeds United, and they were actually in control of that game. Their game management, for a while have been very poor. Even the one that they won yesterday was quite poor in terms of managing, seeing out the games, but they are defending champions. You have to look at it and see how you can grind out results, because the fans will not be patient with you in as much as you won the league in your first season. The director of football too, Hughes, wouldn't be smiling too, because you need to be getting the result, and that's what they've done. It's for weeks it looks as if the whole team have been bad. Konate, Van Dijk partnership quite bad. The strikers have not been scoring goals. The man himself that got the goal yesterday, talking about the German international, Florian Wirtz, have been playing well, but the team has not been gelling. The man has had the most chances created, but the strikers have not been putting the ball in the back of the net. So it's quite bad for Liverpool. But past few weeks they've been dominating games, seeing how they can grind that result, but they let teams actually come into games. The game against Brighton was one of those games that they let Brighton come into the game. Wolves, they let Wolves come into the game after a dominating performance. They got the goals in the first half, and second half it was about Wolves trying to peg themselves back into the game. So I think it's a good one for Liverpool. Looking at the table, they are fourth on the table, and it shows that Liverpool have been picking up themselves. At some point this season, they lost 6 games out of 7. That's in a row. But you look at it, it's something that they've been building from Dutch performances. The manager came out to say after his role with Salah, at some point he came out to take responsibility, saying that if the team is not playing well, it's his fault. But the players, too, Van Dijk said the players need to take responsibilities. It's not a Liverpool that they were last season. So they've been grinding out results, and you've seen the last 3 games have been decent, and here they are, 4th place, above Chelsea. I think it's something that they could build upon, and hopefully they get to end up in a very decent position come the end of the season.
Now, I was coming to that definitely, Benjamin, because there was definitely a question of if they were going to be able to respond, and their response has been impressive by every means you look at it. I mean, from the way they went to conceding pointless goals and just dropping points, and really dropping really below par performances on the pitch too. But they found themselves in a position that makes their season looks like something is still possible. So Benjamin, what do you think are the chances? Do you think Liverpool's season is still salvageable? They are currently 4th, like you mentioned. So what do you think about their chances this season in terms of performances or a trophy to back it up?
Well, you look at Liverpool, they're not a bad side. You look at that team, they've got experience, lots of experience, the likes of Alisson Becker, Champions League winner, Premier League winner, 2 times Premier League winner and Champions League winner. That's experience. McAllister, walk up to his name, Premier League to his name. It shows that these are players that have got experience. Virgil van Dijk, the captain of the side, has won the Premier League PFA Player of the Year. I think 3rd in the Ballon d'Or ranking at some point in time in his career. So they've got lots of experience in their pocket, in their sleeves. So for Liverpool, I think you could expect anything. For Ancelotti, yeah, he's a manager that have won the league in the Dutch league. Coming into the Premier League, won it the first season, as much as lots of people could say that that squad is... he inherited the squad of the former gaffer Jurgen Klopp. But it's one thing to inherit a good squad, and it's another thing to actually use that squad to get something. That's what he has done. So for Liverpool, they are not far off. 4th position, you look at the gap between themselves and 3rd place, not very much. Aston Villa, high-flying Aston Villa at this point in time. Man City, Arsenal still at the top of the league. So you look at it, I think it's possible with the experience that they've got. It's just the return leg of the Premier League has begun. So it's about you getting those points where you faltered in the first leg, and you could actually go all the way. But for Liverpool, the manager himself or the players could actually tell you it's one game at a time. So if they continue like this, grinding out results, they could actually make the top 3 of the English Premier League table come the end of the season. But for talking about trophy, I wouldn't rule them out of the English Premier League title, because Arsenal is still there. The point gap is not very much. Same as City, still in the title race. But again, I then you look at the cup competition there. I think they're out of the Carabao Cup. The FA Cup can still be in their reach. It's a cup competition, and then you look at the Champions League. Anybody could win it at this point in time, because you look at the Champions League. I think they've learned their lessons from last season, because last season they actually topped the table, but they were knocked out in the Champions League. So I think every trophy at this point that they're in is still very much possible. It depends on how they actually get to respond to results and pick themselves up, get the valuable, the much needed results, and hopefully they could end the season in a better position, and then maybe, just maybe, get a trophy to back it up this season.
Oh, well, it's also worth reminding that Liverpool are currently 10 points behind the Arsenal table toppers. They are 8 points behind Manchester City in second, and they are 7 points behind the high-flying Aston Villa. So you can understand Benjamin's enthusiasm when he is definitely of the opinion that Liverpool can still turn their season around. Of course, we are still looking at their game yesterday versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I mentioned a certain man who got his first goal of the season. Ovie Wallace, I'm coming to you over with this one now. I think we saw how he took his goal yesterday. I mean, it was much needed. He spoke about it and said, I needed that. I definitely needed that. So he was feeling the pressure. That one is sure. And as much as his teammates were trying to back him up, we saw a couple of games where the game was over and his teammates would go to the press conference. Usually the man of the match would go to the press conference and he would tell them, look, he may not have gotten a goal or assist, but look at what Florian did for us today. I want to throw certain attention to Florian, and we understand what they were trying to do. They were just trying to give him that extra bit of confidence, just infuse it into him to tell him that you've got this. And now he's finally got that goal. Do you think this kickstarts Florian Wirtz, Liverpool's career in terms of goal contributions, or are you of the opinion that it was expected to happen? After all, it's against the side that has picked 2 points all season.
I think I kind of expected it to happen. You were here during the show when I started. I was done Akron, and I said against Wolves, so we can expect Florian Wirtz to get a goal against Wolves, and it just kind of turned out that way. Know how he's gotten the goal. It was much needed to build that confidence, especially coming off an assist, a good performance in the match against Tottenham. But subsequent, they're going to be counting him on the big games. That is what makes your price tag worth it. You're going to be looking at the games against Chelsea. You're going to be looking at the games against Man City, the games against Arsenal. Can Florian Wirtz turn up good performance? We are not telling you to score. We're not telling you to assist, but can he give you good performances that are worth that price? That is going to be the main thing for that price tag. But we can't deny that goal has been, for me, I think it has been coming for a while. Even though it's Wolves, even though it's a small team, I think it still means a lot to the man. I don't know whitewash what he did, but it still means a lot to the man. A goal, an assist, a back-to-back goal contributions. I don't think his man has done it since coming to Liverpool this season. So you're looking at their next few games, and he needs to keep on doing that. We need to see that consistency. That is what is going to validate that price tag. But as I said, the big games are all that matters. The big games are all everyone is going to be looking for. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't turn up against City, they'll be like, Is this what you signed? Is this what you brought on? So
you're of the opinion that has not really kick-started his career in terms of, because we've always had this thing that watch football with your eyes.
Yeah.
We have the eye test. That was a recent term now that has been brought up by football fans, the eye test. So if we say eye test, we'd say that he creates chances. Yeah. He's very important in the final third. But he has just not been able to.
Eyes and stats wise, I think he's good. Eyes and stats wise, you have to pull it out. The man has created one of the most chances in the Premier League, but people have not just been able to finish. Even big chances created, but people have not just been able to finish it. So you can't really put that on him. You have to say it's the people that are at the front of the Isake Kitiki, the people that has given the ball, so that have not really be able to finish. But play wise, the boy is good. He knows how to play. He's fitting well into the English Premier League. Although you cannot keep up with that physicality, he's playing the way he knows how to play. And we've seen that from the players that have come in from at least the German and the French league. You can see Ryan Cherki coming in from the French league, trying to play as stylishly as he can play. Look at Xavi Simons as well, to coming into the English Premier League. The man has been able, at least he's trying to fit into the Tottenham system. He's gotten at least two Champions League goals for Tottenham. Gotten them some goals and some good performance. Or do you say he was one of the having a red card in the last match against Liverpool? So I don't know about kick-starting. Yeah, I think he has been having a good performance already. So we can't really say kickstart. You say him play well. You can say maybe just kickstart him getting those goals, him racking up those goals and the goal contributions and all. But playing wise, I think he has been good. He has been good so far.
Oh well, Ovie is definitely of the opinion that, well, first of all, it was against Wolves, so it was expected to happen. For you, okay, of course, it was expected to happen against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Well, I can't tell you from the Premier League that the game between Sunderland and Leeds United at the Stadium of Light has gone to half-time. Sunderland maintained their 1-0 advantage at home. We still have Crystal Palace up against Tottenham Hotspur by 5:30. AC Milan in the Serie A defeated Hellas Verona 3-0, and Napoli is keeping the pressure at the top because they've doubled their lead away to Cremonese at halftime. It's 2-0. We still have a Bologna Sassuolo kickoff by 6 p.m. And of course, the big one of the day in the Serie A would be Atalanta at home to Internazionale Milan. And well, we're still discussing Florian Wirtz and Liverpool. And we'd like to hear your thoughts and what you think so far of Florian Wirtz. Do you think this finally justifies his price tag? Obviously, I mean, it's just a goal, but is that start that he needed? The man spoke himself and said, I needed that goal. I needed it to happen. I would have wanted it to happen much earlier, but it is the way it is, and I'm taking it as that. So, what do you make of this situation? What do you think of Liverpool's current 6-game unbeaten run, and of course their recent impressive performances, particularly in the Premier League? Yesterday was a bit of a dicey one because they did have moments where they dominated for sure, and then after that they sort of fell into a slump. 0810-9510-951. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, your name and your location, please.
Lucky from Abia State.
Lucky from Abia State, welcome. Let's hear your thoughts.
Please, I want to talk about Super Eagles of Nigeria yesterday match. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you, Lucky. You want to talk about?
Okay. My brother.
Yeah.
If you yesterday match, I don't believe it. Too. Yes, very surprising. Also, I'm seeing Super Eagles of Nigeria winning the AFCON. That one is the truth.
Bold predictions already. You're seeing the Super Eagles winning the AFCON. That is a really bold prediction. But
then later, it can't become 2 goals.
So it's safe to say that you were definitely impressed by their performance yesterday.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, well, of course, we are still discussing Liverpool, but I did say that the Super Eagles fans are going to be calling in because that was definitely impressive yesterday. They are going to I want to talk about it. I mean, it's been itchy, but right now we are discussing everything European football, but would be switching things over to the local scene in a bit, where of course you get the full reaction from the Super Eagles 3-2 win against Tunisia yesterday. And we were talking Florian Wirtz, we were talking Liverpool, and we wanted to know your thoughts, your opinions on everything we have discussed about Liverpool so far. If you agree that their season is still salvageable in terms of at least maybe getting to top 4, which definitely should be a standard. But when you come off the back of the fact that they are defending champions, I mean, you'd expect them to do much better than they are currently performing this season. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Merry Christmas.
I wish you the very best, sir.
Thank you.
Your name and your location, please.
Yeah, Chris from Port Harcourt. I'm just Chris from Port Harcourt. Quickly, well, Liverpool, well, you can't take it away from them. Something good can come up, but winning the league, not possible. Winning the league is not possible. They could come, the first 6, between the second and the 6th. Yeah, that's possible. But winning the game, winning the league, not possible. Quickly, Super Eagles, I took time to watch yesterday. If I am one of the people that believe in voodoo power, I would have said Super Eagles use voodoo power in the first half. Because that's not the Tunisia I know.
Was it that much? Was the performance that much obvious?
Yes. I mean, it wasn't like the Tunisia we know. It was like something was wrong with them. It was in the second half, towards the last 35 minutes of second half, I now saw the Tunisia playing football. But thank God we got those 3 goals. Else, those guys would have equalized and probably would have won us the way they were coming. But congratulations to Super Eagles. Congratulations to Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that one there. Okay, well, we did say, of course, that Nigerians are itching to react to everything that the Super Eagles have done so far. But we are still on the European scene right now. We'll be switching things over to look at Manchester City. We'll be switching things over right now to look at Manchester City. Let's see if we can take this call. Okay, I think we've lost that one there. All right, now with Manchester City, Ryan Cherki scored a late winner to briefly send Man City top of the Premier League as the 2-1 away to Nottingham Forest. Now Pep Guardiola's side left it late to edge past Forest, with Cherki rifling home from the edge of the area with 7 minutes left. The results moved City top before Arsenal, of course, reclaimed their 2-point advantage with a 2-1 victory at home to Brighton later on Saturday. Cherki had already assisted the opener for Tijani Reinders, his 7th assist of the season, but Sean Dyche's side were always a threat and levelled when Omari Hutchinson found the net. However, Cherki's late strike proved a decisive moment as Guardiola's side made it 8 wins on the spin. And the France international had not found the net in the league since the opening day of the season against Wolverhampton Wanderers. But he picked the perfect time to end that drought. And now speaking about it, which is Ryan Cherki, he did say that in winter time, Nottingham Forest away, I know the memory is weak, but when we won one of the 6 Premier Leagues, this type of game happens a lot. Pep Guardiola also contributed by saying 3 points. But it's a massive 3 points, mainly for the quality of the opposition. Sean Dyche has created a proper team because they are so good. You'd also remember that a few months ago, Nottingham Forest missed out on the Champions League, albeit very narrowly. So Pep Guardiola had to highlight that. He said, it's a top side. I know the momentum isn't good in terms of results, but that doesn't change the quality there. And the aggression of Sean Dyche is there. Well, it was definitely a topsy-turvy afternoon for Manchester City away to Nottingham Forest, which is never an easy ground to go to. All Premier League lovers knows this. So they were able to go there, and they got out of that Forest with all 3 points. So it raises a lot of questions about City, their title chances, and what they have going on for them currently this season. It also raises the individual brilliance of a certain Ryan Cherki and how they are going to be able to pose an actual title chase this season, which is the exact angle I want to come from Benjamin. By the way, we also have Victor Israel in the studio today. Victor, welcome.
Lots happen in the world of football, where we have our eyes on the African Cup of Nations, also having our eyes on the English Premier League and also the Serie A. Note that the La Liga is actually still enjoying their holiday, but yesterday we did see a certain man break the 0-0. I think it was up to 16.
We were just talking about it.
18. And for me, I would say make that 2 goals for the man, because it took just a stroke of, luck for his first goal to be ruled as an own goal. And it's just something that gives you that joy. Yesterday I was just following up the show, and the joy here in the studio when he got that goal.
We had to say Happy Merry Christmas.
So that's the joy that football brings. And we are also looking at things happening, looking at our very own Super Eagles. Yesterday, they gave us joy. They shocked the world because lots of fans did not believe them to score 3 past the Tunisians. So it's a good one. And also looking at Pep Guardiola talking about his team, I feel he is going to be up for the mind games because currently we are seeing Manchester City on the spin. We are seeing them get back into the mojo that we know City to be. That's 6 wins, 6 straight wins there in the English Premier League, and you seem to forget that everyone touted Arsenal to be the league winners this season. Runaway league winners, and now it's looking like City are back on track. At the same time, Liverpool are trying to find their feet. So it seems like this Arsenal will still continue to remain the unknown of the Premier League.
I was also going to say that it's pretty impressive. Liverpool went through that slump, that period that they had, and they're still somehow 10 points behind league leaders Arsenal. What that means is you fail to pick a result in 2 to 3 games. The points gap is almost non-existent.
Alex, I said it earlier. I said it earlier that I said it earlier that in the English Premier League, Arsenal have been they've been shooting themselves on on the foot because those games that they actually drew were actually games that ordinarily they shouldn't have, and it's now as though the teams that they drew, they were actually better. Against City, Arsenal had to throw away 45 minutes of football in terms of the way they were defending and letting City, hold the ball. City were not really a very good side, when they played Arsenal, in the first leg. But they found a way to actually do that against. Would say against Liverpool. That was a game that Arsenal would have, come out toe to toe to actually play Liverpool and hopefully get something out of it. And the game against Sunderland, these are games that Arsenal should have won, or maybe gotten something out of it. And that's one thing about football. You can decide to draw 3 games. That's points lost. But if someone gets to win 2 games, the margin is not far. So I think what it is right now the pressure is mostly on Arsenal because we know why we say it's the pressure is on Arsenal because they've been doing it, finishing as runners up in 2 seasons or more, in a row. So it's that time where they think that this is actually going to be their season. But at this point in time, it is now that Manchester City are waking up and it's just 3 points. That it shows that the English Premier League is exciting. This is why, lots of people get to look at the English Premier League and say it's the best league in the world because any team could beat you. You could drop points from any team, and that's what it is. Home or away, you are not guaranteed, that point. You could be favourite going into that game, but a lot could happen. Who would have thought that Sunderland at this point in time could be, where they are, and even winning games when they've lost 5 of their players to the African Cup of Nations. So I feel that Arsenal, they've done themselves harm, but it's never too late to start picking up the points. It's 3 points, so just keep winning your games, and you don't care about what's happening against what City is playing. Just keep winning your games, and at the end of the day, you might be crowned champion if everything goes as planned. So for Manchester City, they're waking up. Liverpool, they've just they're trying to find their mojo again. Coming into this season, 4th position. For Chelsea, I don't know what to make of Chelsea because it's been up and down. I think that team is actually lacking leadership quality in that team, and I feel that when they get that team in the right spark, they could be doing anything. Because you look at Chelsea, Chelsea have got squad players rather than starters in their respective teams. The likes of Gusto shouldn't be starting games for Manchester City, shouldn't be starting games for the likes of Arsenal, shouldn't be starting games for the likes of Liverpool. Well, for Liverpool, you could say, mostly. Is it better than what's his name, the youngster Conor Bradley? They could be head and shoulder, slightly above each other at this point in time. Then you look at the left back of Chelsea, Marc Cucurella. I think is a decent. After that Euros, the man has been reborn, a very decent left back. So I think Robertson have not been playing this season, but I could say the man could actually be a starter for Chelsea, for Manchester City, and for Arsenal. In that left back position. But you look at the other players, apart from Cucurella, Caicedo, Reece James, who else should be a starter in that team? So I think Chelsea have got more of a squad player than starters in that team. That's one thing that is actually disturbing Chelsea. The earlier they get their house right, the better. But for them, I think they could actually end up making the European places. Manchester United, they are actually picking up themselves. So this is going to be an exciting season in the English Premier League. Let's just see. Let's wait until March. Let's say May. And let's see who gets up to win the English Premier League and who gets to end in the European places.
Well, it's also worth noting that we are currently halfway through the Premier League season with one more game to go to make it an official first half of the campaign. And how impressed have you been with your side halfway through the Premier League season? I mean, you need to start as you want to go on. And how impressed have you been with your side and their placements, their points picked, their performances as they sit going into the next half of the season? Of course, we are still focusing on Manchester City. Now, let's talk numbers. Victor. City have won 8 games in a row. They've won 6 on a bounce, like you mentioned, in the Premier League. We want to do a little bit of comparison now. They've scored 43 goals and they've conceded 17. And if you match that against Arsenal have scored 34 and conceded 11. How much impact do those numbers tell for both sides if you're trying to compare them? Because obviously there's a side that is scoring a lot and letting a lot into. At this rate, City is averaging at least a goal per game. And Arsenal is doing well to manage it to just slightly under or around a goal every 2 games. So there's a side that is quite obviously a more defensive side and a side that relies on their attack to outscore teams to win matches. How sustainable is it? And how do you see this impacting the second half of the season?
Coming into football, it is well known that attack wins you games, but defense wins you titles. And you look at the Chelsea, formidable Chelsea team that conceded just 15 goals in a season. Believe me, that's any team, if you ask any coach if he wants to replicate that or get to score 100 goals in a season and concede maybe 70, he will tell you he wants to keep clean sheets, because he believes with a goal, and if you keep a clean sheet, with a goal you win the game. But you can end up scoring 3 and losing the game by 4 goals to 3. So for me, I feel Arsenal has the advantage, because when you look at Arsenal, starting off the season, they were that team that you could barely get chances against them. There was a time they celebrated not conceding a shot on target. That is not conceding a goal, not conceding a shot on target. And you ask yourself, as a team going up against Arsenal, will I get a chance? That's the problem. We saw how Liverpool did beat them. They beat them through set piece. And there were no clear-cut chances for Liverpool the way you expect the Liverpool-Arsenal game to be end-to-end and all that. We watch games. We watch the Manchester City game against Arsenal. We saw how City broke from a counter-attack and got their goal. And again, Arsenal don't concede chances anyhow. That is the difference between them and City. City, on the other hand, can put 3 past you. They can put 4. But there is always that tendency that they will concede goals. So I feel Arsenal has the edge when you talk about the numbers. But now let's keep the numbers aside. I know we are actually talking about the number, but let's keep the numbers aside. Let's narrow it down to the mentality. Do these players have the mentality of being a champion? You look at this Arsenal team. When the going gets tough, can you do it the ugly way and still get the result? Can you go into the games not playing well and still grind that result? We saw how Liverpool started the season conceding goals against Bournemouth, conceding goals against Tottenham and Newcastle, still struggling to beat Burnley, taking a last penalty kick there to win the game. They were not fantastic, but they still tried to grind out results. And now we saw when their case became so worse that they couldn't win games again. Believe me, the first 5 wins they had still managed to keep them where they are. Because how do you explain to someone that Liverpool in their worst form is still ahead of the world champions? So this is just down to the games you were not fantastic. How do you do it? Look at City. City have not been that fantastic. The City we know. The Pep Guardiola City will beat you in 30 minutes. 30 minutes of the game, you know you're already. You've lost already.
Yeah.
But now City will still give you a way into the game. Look at how Leeds came into the game against Manchester City, and you just ask yourself this question: can Arsenal get the title? Because this City team may look as if they are getting back their mojo, but let's tell ourselves the truth. If now Manchester City pursue you for title, they can go 20 games winning run. They can go 15. Now, this Manchester City, can they do it? The answer there is no. Because there will be a time when we saw it how they lost to Aston Villa 1-0. So, for the numbers, Arsenal have the advantage. But in terms of the mentality, City could actually be winning a game 1-0 and decide to do the dark way. We saw how they did against Arsenal. We saw a City team defend against Arsenal. In fact, Guardiola was parking the bus. So, he knows that the result is the aim. So, nobody cares about the fantastic football you play. Now, Arsenal, can they do it? When we expect Arsenal to do it, that is when you see them falling down. I don't see leaders in that team. Benjamin talked about leaders. But look at this Arsenal team. I don't see leaders. I don't see men that can actually hold the game at the scruff of the neck and win game for Arsenal. We don't care whether you just keep the ball and use your set piece and win. Can you do it when it matters most? Don't do it at the beginning of the season. Can you do it when it matters most? When we have 5 games to go, the run-in comes in. Where you know that with Liverpool winning their game, you will be on the side of the pressure. With City winning their game, can you withstand the pressure? If Liverpool and Manchester City were to get into the title race with this Arsenal team, believe me, Arsenal will drop. You go there like where bus drop before you reach injunction. That's how I see this Arsenal, because I don't see this mentality of a winner in them. I can see it in City. We know that there've been a shake. Lots of players are leaving. Kevin De Bruyne left. Walker and all that. These are leaders of the team, but they still have some leaders. There's still Bernardo Silva in that team. There's still Ruben Diaz. There are still men that can actually speak to the boys that we are losing 1-0. We can still do it. We saw how Company scored a goal. I think it was against Leicester City, where he got the goal, the decisive goal that actually won them the league. So you look at Liverpool too. We saw last season where they were actually trailing against Tottenham. They knew that a win there would guarantee them the title, and they came from behind and still won it. Can Arsenal know fully well that two tough teams are chasing them? Can they actually pull it out? That's the mentality. So I just see this Arsenal team. They look good. Based on numbers, they are the better team, because Liverpool will concede goals. Chelsea, we saw it yesterday, they'll concede goals. Manchester City will also concede goals. I think that's the only 3 teams that can actually go head to head. Forget Manchester United; those ones, they're still struggling. So let's just allow them survive the league first before putting them in the title race. But for these 3 other teams, they always concede. They always drop points. But Arsenal, can they make it count? At this point last season, Liverpool were already ahead of the second place team by I think 9 or 10 points. Now you look at Arsenal; they're ahead with 2 points. 2 points is just a game. You just need Arsenal to maybe lose the game and City wins, and everything. You see the pressure.
Draw.
You see
even a draw.
Even a draw. I feel Guardiola might be able to handle the pressure than Arteta. Slot might have done it just once, but I feel he may be able to handle the pressure if he's on top of the table, because we saw him do it last season. Until Arteta does his own, I will always say Slot is more experienced in terms of handling the title pressure. Me, I don't really care how long you don't stay. Just do it once.
Oh well. A lot was being said by Victor on Arsenal's title chances, while softly throwing out digs to both Chelsea and Manchester United. Oh well, the focus was, of course, City, and if they were going to be able to stage a proper title chase against a resilient Arsenal side. And I also have to inform you that while we were on that talking about Manchester City, Leeds United equalized away to Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. Should we call him the most informed English player? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, with his 7th goal in 6 games. Of course, he has to be at this point.
Yeah, I think definitely he has to be the most informed English player at this point in time. The man has been poaching goals. No, he's How many goals has Rogers scored?
It's not about goal. It's not about
No, the man
Okay.
has scored no.
So are we saying why are we saying because why are we saying because
we are saying this is he has scored 7 goals in 6 games.
I think a striker is wait. Osas, wait.
There's a certain Hurricane in the mix too. But you're talking about English Premier League right now. I think he's the man.
I want to ask you a question. Who is the most informed Super Eagles player right now?
Ademola Lookman.
Who is the? Are you sure about that?
I can
put a Calvin Bassey. Go and look at Calvin Bassey's stats as a defender. Look at his stats yesterday. I can put a Calvin Bassey up against an Ademola Lookman. Calvin Bassey had 83 draws. Did I say 83 draws? About 68 passes completed yesterday.
Yeah.
He only did not complete 3 out of all the passes he took.
How many
yesterday?
How many goals has Ademola got in this?
Why are you making it all about goals? That's what I'm saying.
No.
It is score goals. The man has scored goals.
If you are comparing the defender against a striker, you look at the duty of the striker. His duty is to score goals.
The duty
of the defender is to make clearances.
I'm looking at Rogers' duty. Rogers' duty is to create. He's creating and he's scoring.
How many assists does he have this season?
I can't really. Let me check that. But Rogers have been able to.
No, Calvert-Lewin is a striker, and his duty is to score goals. 7 goals in 6 games is very much impressive.
That is very much impressive.
So for me, I would say he is actually the most informed English player currently. Because Rogers might create 1 or 2 chances and get 2 or 3 assists and score 2 goals. I can't just place him there.
Rogers has got 7 goals and 4 assists through the season.
That's about 30. Sorry.
Through the season. but I think in the last 5 matches,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin has got in his last 7 games, let's say 5 games, he scored close to 4 goals. So what are we saying now? Okay, please check and confirm.
Meanwhile, while we are arguing about this Calvert-Lewin, I just saw someone there. Is it that they didn't take him? They didn't take
7 goals.
They didn't take him to have
no assist in 15 appearances in the English Premier League.
We are talking about in his last 6-7 games.
He scored all Premier League goals in that period.
Yes.
He had no goal prior to match week 9 or so, and then he started scoring.
If not for Chelsea, that gave him some goals, and Liverpool, what is goals that he will get? Because Calvert-Lewin has been very, very poor.
Very fantastic. Yeah, you can talk about Rogers in the number 10 position.
Rogers has got 4 goals and 1 assist in his last 7 games.
Okay, now check Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Go ahead.
So I'm talking about.
He has scored back-to-back in 7 appearances.
So what are we saying? The man is currently the most informed English player in the English Premier League.
So does that mean Dominic is heading to the World Cup?
See,
I don't know.
The truth is,
I was going to say we should look at the teams they've played.
No, it's not about looking at the team.
No. Even if you look at the team they've played, Dominic has scored against City. He scored against Chelsea. He scored against Liverpool. He scored against Brentford. Crystal Palace. Now scored against Leeds. So I cannot even argue.
You see, the truth is, you made mention about if he's going to the World Cup. See, you've got a manager in England that is a no-nonsense manager.
Yeah.
He could drop anybody for anybody. That's the kind of man he is. He dropped what's his name now, Jude Bellingham for Rogers, and right now he currently told him, see, you have to fight for your place. And he has told Arnold, fight for your place or you're not going to the World Cup. That's how a manager should be. And this man is a cup manager. I'm talking about the English manager Thomas Tuchel. He's a cup manager. The man no likely in like 7 games. Give me that's the kind of manager he is. And you look at how England has played during the World Cup qualifiers. They've been decent. Yeah, they've not been scoring lots of goals, but they've not been shipping in goals too. So this is a manager that knows what he wants, how he wants it, and he knows how to go about it. So for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if he continues like this until the season ends, my brother, he go sit down for playing. He go sit down near Thomas Tuchel. They go World Cup.
So even if he does go ahead to call a certain Hurricane, who of course be their mainstay, there is still a provincial space for Dominic Calvert-Lewin if he keeps up this form.
Definitely. Yeah, we could see that nobody could actually bench Hurricane in that team because Hurricane is the reason why what's his name, Jamie Vardy actually retired very early. Jamie Vardy was actually firing for Leicester City at some point. You know, he was firing always, but the manager told him, you are just a second fiddle to Harry Kane. And the man got frustrated after was it the Euros or so, the man retired. You know, lots of strikers have been in England in the national team with the Three Lions, and they've not lasted because of the way Harry Kane have been playing. He's the favorite, you know. He's that man that could get you goals at some point, even if when things are not going well. We've seen it in Bayern Munich where the man could. He's actually the fastest player to actually hit 100 in Bayern Munich, 100 goals. So this is a striker that has proven himself in the English Premier League. He has proven himself in the German Bundesliga. There are rumors that he could be seen in the English Premier League next season, you know, in one of the big teams. I don't want to start mentioning names, but again, I think that whoever you are coming into the Three Lions, you should have it at the back of your mind that no matter what you play, you could sit down for bench. We saw what's his name now, the Chelsea man, Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
He was very decent in the English Premier League regular season, but you know, going into the Three Lions, it was very difficult for him to even see game time to play in was it the Euros. So I think that's what national team is. When you've got the trust of the manager, that's all you need to actually get into the team.
Well, Sasa, I want to come to you with this particular one. There was something Victor said, and it sort of really caught my attention, where he spoke about the dominance Manchester City displayed on their en route to winning 6 Premier League titles under Pep Guardiola, and we all know how Pep Guardiola went about winning most of those titles. We know the dominance they showed on the pitch. He said, according to Victor, he said, in 30 minutes, you know that match is over. As soon as you're lining up against a Pep Guardiola's Manchester City side, we know the likes of Sterling, Sane, Aguero, Riyad Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. It was a fully stacked attack. So you're going into that game 30 minutes in, and it's looking like you're done for the day already. You could be 3-4 goals behind. Now, that was obviously the standard then, but a lot has changed since then. And I just want to pose the question that, do you think other teams have also gotten significantly better to make the competition more interesting? So it's not a walkover, it's not a one-man dominance. We are looking at Leeds. Look at their recruitment. Look at Sunderland's recruitment. What makes them so hard to beat? So it's Arsenal. Arsenal goes away to Sunderland, finds out how physical they are, emerges there with a draw, and they are still celebrating the 1 point because they know how troublesome a team like Sunderland is. We are seeing Leeds also doing wonderful things too. We are seeing teams that would not dare spend 30 to 50 million on record signings, which is not something that was being done years ago. So it definitely has to have upped the level of competition in the Premier League, which makes that dominance that Pep Guardiola and Manchester City was showing, it makes it not as easily achievable anymore. But what's your take on this, Osas?
Definitely, Alex. I think the Premier League has evolved. It has changed, most especially due to the financial input that has come into the Premier League. Where was Newcastle United in the early 2000s? Where was Fulham? Where was Crystal Palace? But these are teams that you can see right now, and you say they are very, very competitive. No big team can just go over to the Selhurst Park and walk away and think that you will come up with all 3 points. They fight you to the last. They took. Was that at the Selhurst Park? Yeah, at Anfield they took 3 points away from Liverpool. We've seen teams go over there. Chelsea didn't find it easy at Selhurst Park. Yes, they didn't find it easy at Selhurst Park. So it goes a long way to tell you that that's the reason why it's quite evident in the way that in the late 90s and early 2000s we used to hear the Big Four, right? Yes, Big Four, where you see Manchester United, you see maybe Liverpool wasn't even part of the Big Four then, were they?
In the 90s?
In the early, late 90s.
I think we are talking Liverpool, United.
80s were Liverpool.
I'm not talking about 80s. During the Mourinho Chelsea era.
2005.
That's what I'm saying now. Early 2000s. Liverpool,
Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United.
Manchester United. Okay, Manchester City was not part of the big
No.
four. All right, so now that was then you heard the Big Four. But now it's more or less that like having even the Big Eight. That's to tell you that more teams are coming into that fray, into that bracket where you say we are big teams. Aston Villa are now a team that can do it over and over again. In 2002 they finished 4th. Last season I think that was 6th or thereabouts. So if it's when you have been able to keep consistency in keeping your face high up there within those who finish right, then you can be called or attributed to be a big team. So I think right now it's more competitive. I would want to stake my money with anybody who would want to come up with me and say bring Pep Guardiola from that era where he won 4 Premier League titles into this era where it's heavily competitive, and he may win the Premier League title, but
they'll be closely contested.
There will be the close contention in it. There, it's not going to be as easy as you feel he did it right in those days, where it was just most of the times it's either himself and that's Manchester City and Liverpool going for it. Arsenal falls by the way. The others are just chasing packs. They don't find anything in it. But right now, I think the English Premier League is even more competitive than ever.
Oh, well, definitely. We're looking at the Premier League and we're looking at how things stand halfway point into the season, how everybody is poised going into the final 19-20 games of the season, and how impressive each team has looked. Are you impressed with your team, where they are, and how the first couple of months of the Premier League season has played out? 0810-951-0951, 0810-951-0951. Our SMS and WhatsApp also doubles at 0701-933-9962, 0701-933-9962. Hello, caller. Good afternoon. Hello. Okay, I think that's a drop call situation. We are going to be waiting. Okay, we have another caller. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I agree the guys in Kabalobari.
Oh, Kabalobari, welcome.
Yeah, about Liverpool match yesterday. Let me say Liverpool overall. The only joy when I get this afternoon is out of at least end of the year, I did top of that so-called world champion, and then the noisy makers, way they call themselves Manchester United. yes, because with the Manchester United and Chelsea fans do me, I know they not say out of 18 matches like this, at least I will carry 2 points. The top Chelsea, they carry 3 points. The top Man United, because me, I know even expect Liverpool will finish like this for with them now. But I still believe, say, if Anslot keep on the waiting they do. See that number one. And they always tell now, even from when season starts, say we know the drag for the title, but if Arsenal do anything, then go there will carry that trophy from their hand. And I never change my mind. And I also talk, say, for Liverpool to qualify for top 4, they will not suffer or they will not struggle. Because so many fans, they say Liverpool will struggle to qualify for top 4, but I want to remind them that Liverpool will not struggle to qualify for Champions League. And if Arsenal not take time, because even the Man City, me, I not even see them there. Yes. So if Arsenal not take time, Liverpool will carry that cup from their hand. Thank you.
All right, Kabilabari. Thank you so much for your contribution there. Well, it's definitely still an open race, especially when you think of the fact, like I did say, that Liverpool, who look to be down and out, are somehow still within 10 points of table toppers Arsenal. But guys, very quickly, we just have to see if we can just talk about Aston Villa just a little bit, and them being a title contenders, of course. But we had them go to Stamford Bridge yesterday and win Chelsea 2-1 in a comeback. And when Unai Emery was asked after, he downplayed their chances of a title bid. According to Emery, he said, "No, not really. I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling we are competing very well, and we are now the third in the league with 2 teams, Manchester City and Arsenal. Fantastic performances that they are getting, and we are going to play 38 matches. This is only match day 18. Still 20 matches to play, and there are teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, of course, is speaking at the home or away grounds, and we must compete against them. And this is our objective, to compete against them and try to be more or less consistent in 38 matches like we are right now, to be able to catch up to Arsenal and Manchester City." Well, very quickly, guys, after a very impressive comeback win, we saw their response. there were a lot of tactical analysis on that game and the switch as to how they were able to make that comeback win against Chelsea yesterday. And we were all watching it here together. We saw immediately how outnumbered Chelsea looked in the middle of the park. There are lots and lots if we had to put down analysis about it. But what caught my attention particularly was Unai Emery's comment about Aston Villa. So is it fair to say that Unai Emery is undermining Villa's chances at Premier League glory? Or going halfway into the season, do you think it's still possible for Villa to mount what they have started with and keep it on for the rest of the season?
I think Aston Villa have made themselves the dark horses of this current season. You don't see them coming, but they are coming. It could just take everybody by surprise in the English Premier League to see that Aston Villa gets to sit on top of the table and continue. They've shown it with lots of might and grit. 17 games played, 11 wins gathered in those 17 games. They just sit behind Manchester City. Manchester City are the only teams that have gathered more wins in a couple of games as compared to Aston Villa. Not even Arsenal, who sits on top of the table. So it's a long way. It goes a long way. I don't blame Unai Emery for what he said. That's the best way of taking pressure away from the shoulders of your players, yes. Looking at most of the players, they are pretty young. Morgan Rogers is just on his way to making it very huge right now. What's his name? Malen is coming from BVB, that's Borussia Dortmund, where he didn't really Malen didn't really cut it that much there, but he's coming in here trying to make something happen for himself. Ole Watkins is the only one that has been there before, but he has not really. Ole Watkins is not that, I won't say that A-list striker. I won't call him that A-list striker. Yeah, but he has been able to fuse these guys in a way that they turn out results so smoothly. John McGinn has become another huge tool in the hands of Unai Emery. We saw what Onana did yesterday when he brought him in. That's the beauty of Unai Emery. He's building something there at Aston Villa, and the best way to continue building without having too much of attention is to take away the spotlight from focusing on you, because when that focus comes, you know what it brings. With so much of the talks, you see the attention pouring in from all corners. We are just around the January transfer window. One huge money doubler can just scatter your entire team just because maybe you put yourself under the spotlight at any point. So it's just the best way he's taking it. But I see Aston Villa as the dark horses. You might be looking at. I'm so sorry for Arsenal, because on the 30th of December they'll be up against an Aston Villa. This is the wrongest of times to face Aston Villa, and owing to the fact, remember what Aston Villa did to Arsenal last season. Was that last season?
Yeah,
was that season before last?
Season before last.
It was Aston Villa that started the problem.
2-0 win, yeah.
It was Aston Villa that started that problem. And here is Aston Villa again, hoping to start another problem again for Arsenal.
They've already started now. They've already started because they beat them this season already.
Yes, but doing it, this is the most important, because if you throw Arsenal down now, you know, the fight is between Arsenal and Manchester City.
Yeah.
Win this week, go on top. I'll win again, I'll come on top of you. So if Arsenal gets to lose a game and surrenders that top position to Manchester City, it's going to be very, very difficult to break. So it's a Herculean task right now. It's going to be a near-death experience for Arsenal coming up against an informed Aston Villa at this period. I repeat, Aston Villa are the dark horses. Watch them. Don't get your eyes off them.
So Osas definitely thinks that Aston Villa are the dark horses. In one word answer, Victor, can you realistically address Villa as title contenders? One word.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Aston Villa are definitely not meant to be undermined. They are definitely meant to be looked at as title contenders. We have the AFCON on our screens, the match between Equatorial Guinea and Sudan, which is currently goalless, going 10 minutes into the halftime interval. Sunderland at home to Leeds is still 1 goal all. Napoli is still 2-0 leading Cremonese away in the Italian Serie A. Of course, we still have matches to come with Atalanta at home to Inter Milan and Bologna at home to Sassuolo. We have action from the MPFL matches. Benjamin, where have you got your eyes on in the MPFL this evening?
Between Rivers United definitely and Enugu Rangers. Enugu Rangers not a very tight, not a good hunting ground for them when they get to play against Rivers United in Rivers State. But again, it's 33 minutes on the clock, goalless in that encounter there. It's been a cagey encounter there. Of course, it's what is expected, going into this game. Two former champions, Rangers, former champions, Rivers United also former champions. So it looks like it's going to be a draw going into the half-hour mark. But again, I want to look at it, and I'd say Rivers United would have to definitely get the win in this one.
Okay, well, Rivers United currently still playing out goalless draw with Enugu Rangers. They do have a good record against Enugu Rangers here in Port Harcourt. Can that, or will that continue? Finidi George's side have been high-flying season long, and just one defeat or two defeats suffered, and one away defeat, and that was a 4-1 loss to Barao FC over there in Kano. Well, you are listening to the voice of Henry Ogugwo here with you from now to the 6 o'clock hour, as it's time for us to talk about everything that concerns Nigerian football. Yes, we'll still be going into the European scene in intervals, just to give you or keep you updated as regards what's going on over there across the major leagues in Europe, and also predominantly the Premier League and the Italian Serie A. And also, let's not forget the African Cup of Nations is on as well. Mozambique also claiming their first win ever in the African Cup of Nations after they defeated Gabon by 3-2. And yeah, it's an AFCON of getting your first ever wins. Benin got their first ever win. Mozambique got their first ever win. Who remain? Now Botswana remain, Abi.
Yeah, Botswana and Zimbabwe, but will Zimbabwe be able will get
They could beat Bafana. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, would you have put your money on Mozambique beating Gabon today?
No, I know Gabon were actually favourite going into that game, but that's what the AFCON does. Lots of surprises, we've seen the last edition was Equatorial Guinea. They were the dark horses in the tournament, but again, Gabon losing against all odds to Mozambique. And let's see if Zimbabwe could actually do that and end their first win in the Nations Cup against the Bafana of South Africa.
Okay, well, let's see if they can end that victory. We did hear the voice of Benjamin Mina. He'll still be here with us from now to the 6 o'clock hour. Victor Israel is here in the studio as well. And also, Ovie Wallace is here with us as well. And I did mention, my name is Henry Ogugwo, here to drive you through proceedings. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be giving you updated as regards the African Cup of Nations, what's going on in Europe. But it's time for us to talk about Nigerian football, MPFL updates, and the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
to shine as regards their continental showpiece. That's what it's all about. Gabon did lose earlier today by 3-2 to Mozambique. We'll be having Ivory Coast take on Cameroon by 9 p.m. Currently on our screens is Equatorial Guinea playing out to goalless draw with Sudan. That game is in the 42nd minute. And by 6:30, we'll have Algeria taking on Burkina Faso. But let's keep you updated as regards what actually happened or is happening in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Yesterday we had Dendel Insurance defeating Kwara United by 2-0, and currently ongoing Kano Pillars are defeating Nasarawa United by 1-0, trying to put some resurgence to the name. Kano Pillars trying to see how they can get off the bottom of the table. Bayelsa United currently playing out goalless draw with El Kanemi Warriors. Eyimbara defeating Shooting Stars by 1-0. Kun Khalifat at home are losing to Katsina United. Katsina United look like they are pushing for an away win, and they might be the only side to get that away win this match day 19, as they are leading Kun Khalifat by 1-0. Barao FC are losing to Niger Tornadoes by 1-0. Plateau United currently playing out goalless draw with Abia Warriors. And we also have Rivers United currently playing out goalless draw with Enugu Rangers, while Warri Wolves are currently playing out goalless draw with Wiki Tourist. All games are in the 41st minute, barring the Niger Tornadoes and Barao FC game. That's in the 37th minute. And the Kano Pillars Nasarawa United game, that's in the 53rd minute. Quickly, let me head over to Victor, as regards this one just shortly. Kano Pillars trying to have some resurgence. I mean, you might want to say maybe the right time to pick up and try and see how you can get some couple of results is just halfway through the season, so it's not a bad time to pick up from, and you can say there's still hope to survive for the side.
There's still hope very much because when you look at the MPFL, the MPFL is not like the European leagues where you feel at some point looking at even Wolves 18 games to 2 points, and you feel these people are already destined for relegation. You look at the MPFL, there's still very much hope, because there are times when you look at the MPFL, you see the person on top of the table is just ahead of the person on 11th with about 7 points, 6 points, and all that. So it's still very much time for Kano Pillars to still believe that yes, they can still get something out of the season, but it's really, really a poor one. Looking at what's happening in the MPFL, I was just looking at something online and I saw the odds for Remo Stars to get a win against Ikorodu City. The odds does not show that these people are actually the defending champions of the MPFL. It shows how poor most of his teams there in the MPFL has been. Kano Pillars have not really lived to the expectation of the same Esugida that we know them to be. And you look at Remo Stars also, they've not given us that impression that they're actually defending champions. And I feel this is one thing that makes our league look too ordinary. It makes our league look like it's a flash of luck for you to win the league. If you win the league this season, there is no guarantee you stay in the league next season, and that's very, very bad. It's just like we saying during the time when we had the likes of TP Mazembe there in was it the Mozambique League? TP
Mazembe, that's DRC.
DRC.
Yeah, TP Mazembe.
TP Mazembe.
Mazembe.
Okay.
Lubumbashi. That's DRC.
Yeah, so it's just like you're saying, and then when they were in red hot form, you just knew that the next season they will still put in a good performance. It's not like them winning the league this season and going down to the relegation zone. So I feel it's still very much early. We know what Kano Pillars can do. Even if they can't get results on the road, they can actually do something there in Kano State. Then growing up watching MPFL games and also hearing about it, you just knew that whenever you're going there to Kano State to play against those fans, you're expected to meet a fortress. You just know that going there, you can't get a victory. So I believe Kano Pillars can actually harness that same belief and still be hopeful that actually they can get something out of the season. But I feel it's still early. They can still salvage something from the season.
Okay, well, we'll keep you updated as regards the MPFL games currently going on at this point in time. And from there, let's head over to talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Well, they showed exactly what they are capable of under the right circumstances, running roughshod over Tunisia for most parts of the match that ended with a 3-2 win for the Super Eagles. Now, goals from Victor Osimhen, Wilfred Ndidi, and Ademola Lookman got Nigeria into a comfortable position before Tunisia clawed two back and made it a nervy final quarter hour. Now, this was a remarkable performance against the team that had blitzed through World Cup qualifying with 9 wins out of 10. That's just one draw, chalking up 28 points, scoring 22 goals and conceding none. Tunisia no concede for World Cup qualifying. In the AFCON qualifiers, I think they considered only one, and Nigeria put 3 past them. Now, it shows the quality of the Nigerian team and just what they are capable of accomplishing. Now, it was arguably the most entertaining match of this year's African Cup of Nations so far, and certainly the highest score in the lineups before kickoff, though hadn't suggested that would be the case. Now, Nigeria's coach Eric Sekuchel, showing respect for Tunisia's midfield strength and quick counter-attacking, tricked both his formation and personnel, making 2 changes to his starting lineup to shore up his midfield with Frank Onyeka alongside Wilfred Ndidi, while dropping left back Zaidou Sanusi for Bruno Onyemaechi. Tunisia's Hatem Trabelsi, similarly respectful of Nigeria's firepower, switched from his regular 4-3-3 to a more conservative 3-5-2. Now, Nigeria dominated the first half and the early parts of the second to build up a 3-goal lead, but just when it looked like they would close out comfortable when they allowed Tunisia way back in, making for a pulsating finish. Now, the result means Nigeria confirmed winners of the group based on the competition's head-to-head tiebreaker rules. So Nigeria are confirmed to be top of the group. Now, even if they lose against Uganda in their final group game, they are assured of staying in the home stadium at Fez. But speaking after the game, coach of the side, Eric Sekuchel, had high praises for his team and his players. Let's hear from the man.
I'm surprised because nobody talk about the first half and the 75 minutes, about the game, about the high pressure, about the movement, about technical quality of the player. Nobody talk about the team deserve this victory. The team is very great win. So, okay, I have no problem with that. It gives me a lot of motivation. For sure, for me, it will be my last word. My team deserved this victory. We did some mistakes, like the first game. We continue to improve. I think this game was better than the first, and I hope that the third game will be better than the second. So thank you very much. I will try to be very happy with my player for this victory, because we have a third game in 2 days. So I'm very focused about that. Thank you, guys.
Well, speaking also, still the head coach of the side, Eric Sekuchel, well, he did talk about his substitutions with some questioning the removal of Frank Onyeka for Chidere Ejuke. And, I mean, you are 3-1 up and you're looking to see out the victory, but you're bringing on wingers instead. What was the rationale behind that or those substitutions? Well, let's get to hear from Eric Shell.
Substitution, it depends on what happened on the pitch. So like I said, we did during 75 minutes a high pressure on the pitch, and after 75 minutes the Tunisia team arrived to find more the side fix and go to the other side. And because now I think you know our system, so this is why I did some substitute. And like I said, you cannot do 90 minutes with a big high pressure. So this is my substitution. We bring 2 goals, and we took the first goal before my substitution, if I remember.
Yes, you did hear from the head coach of the side, Eric Sekuchel. And let me come over to you guys first off. Let me start off with you, Victor. That game, a lot of people were asking, where has the Super Eagles of Nigeria been? At least for the first 5 minutes, we all saw what happened in the last 15 minutes of the game, what it was like. But, I mean, it was a Nigeria that was totally dominant for 75 minutes. Tunisia could barely lay a glove on us, and we just dictated the tempo and pace of the game and had plethora of chances that, if we had dispatched, could have been as much as 5 or 6-2 at the end of the day.
Believe me, I didn't have my eyes on the game because I just felt we'll get to see a repeat of what happened in the last game against Tunisia. when that was 2021, where we lost by lone goal there. So I didn't have my eyes on it. Then all of a sudden, I heard someone say the Super Eagles were winning 1-0. I was forced to go and watch it. But when I got there, with what I was seeing, it just gave me the impression of the Eric Chair that we got from Mali, the kind of football that the Malians played when we got the man. There was that attacking game. We could see that flair. We could see how they were touching the ball and all that. And the goal that I think the goal that was it Ndidi, the goal that Ndidi scored. I could see the passes. The one touch football where
that was the Lukman goal, right?
Okay, that was the Lukman goal. The one touch football was just too lovely to see. God are those days where we see those kind of things in Super Eagles, those kind of things that is just what we watch on the European scene. But I could see this Super Eagles team show that they were playing like the white Africans, because the other day we were talking about it here in the studio, where the white Africans play football that gives you joy to watch. The blacks just believe in the fact that yes, they can actually be playing high intensity and physicality kind of football. So, but the Super Eagles actually displayed something that could even yield 5 goals yesterday. The chances were coming. We could see all the players being able to express themselves, from Iwobi down to Ndidi there in the midfield. Someone was even making a case online for this man that plays straight for Club Brugge,
Rafa
Onyedika, to start games. But yesterday, if you look at what Ndidi did, you feel like there's a reason why he's the captain of the team. There's a reason why he starts ahead of Rafa Onyedika. But the Super Eagles were faultless yesterday. Maybe one thing they need to know is try to keep up the intensity till the final 90 minutes. Because
but is it easy to keep up with the level of press? We also, one of the recent teams in memory, Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, they press, but they don't press for 90 minutes because at a certain point your intensity drops. It's difficult to keep that up. Is that can you call them some slack for that fact, or you feel maybe as much as you can press, maybe better defensive organization? But you also have to raise the question. Our first choice right back is not in the African Cup of Nations with us. Bright Osayi Samuel was exploited after Bruno Onyemaechi covered the lapses we saw from Zaidu in the first game. Bruno was rock solid, but Bright Osayi was still being utilized by the Tunisians. And also maybe I want to say Benjamin Fredericks, that has been a revelation so far in this competition. The man doesn't shut down, very good in 1v1 duels, and not in the African Cup of Nations.
I think the Super Eagles can actually do better than what we saw, because starting off the game against Tanzania, we could see the first 30 minutes they were all over the Tanzanians, but shutting down so early, because I could recall when you were saying the defense shut down, we could see it was just too early. You started the second half, and from the get-go the defense shot and we considered a goal, and all of a sudden they went back to make sure they get the goal, and they got the goal, and it was like we were just trying to hold our own. We saw Jurgen Klopp's team play the Gengen pressing. At least before they shut down, you get towards the 70th, the 80th minute, and at some point, which
was the case yesterday. It was the case last night.
That's why I'm saying that in the game against Tanzania, it was just too early. But looking at the game against the Tunisians, there was much improvement. You could see the Super Eagles keep up the tempo for that long. But I think it's just the coming in of slots that actually had a balance of knowing when to press, knowing when to control reserve the energy and do something else. I think Eric Chair needs to maybe let's do something else when the energy is no longer there. We keep the ball. You can't hurt us if you don't get the ball. We keep the ball and we play the Pep Guardiola style. Just knock the ball around. We have the players to knock any team in the AFCON. We know the Senegalese have a good squad. We know the Moroccans have a good squad. But if you want to look player for player, at least the Super Eagles can meet up any team here in the AFCON. You want to go to the South Africans. If we want to keep the ball and play the football the way we want to play, the South Africans cannot get the ball. We saw what the South Africans just have that synergy because most of them ply their trade together in their club sides. They understand what it feels like. They know when this man is moving in and out and all that. But I feel if the Super Eagles want to go toe-to-toe against any team here in the AFCON, they can actually do it very well. We should devise a means of hitting the high-tempo game. Maybe the first 60 minutes, we hit them on the high tempo. If we get if the result is on our side, then we keep the ball. We saw how the Spanish national team of the 2010 during the World Cup 2010 to the Euros, what they did. They played with lots of midfielders. When they are winning you don't get the ball, you don't see the ball. They just keep the ball. They keep knocking the ball around here and there. So it knocks your opponents out of the game because they keep chasing and chasing and chasing. We also saw what Newcastle passed through when they faced Barcelona there, when Bruno Guimaraes did come out to say there were times when they had the ball, they never knew what to do with the ball because they were tired of chasing the ball. So the Super Eagles can actually do that. Just let your opponents chase the ball. We hit them when we want to hit them. We slow the tempo when the need is necessary. So the Super Eagles, kudos to them because yesterday's game was very, very fantastic. I never believed the Super Eagles were going to score 3 against Tunisia. I never saw that happening. But we could see that they could even score 4. They could even score 5 yesterday. The last game is looking much like a dead rubber. Because whatever happens, it looks very much likely.
Even if Nigeria loses, we're topping the group because the first tiebreaker is actually head-to-head.
Okay, so it looks very much... for me, I would say let's go with the reserve team. Let everyone have a run-in. Because we never can tell who might put in a stellar performance there. A player might be on the bench, and if given an opportunity, the likes of Akin Samiro, Alebosi and all that, if given an opportunity in that game, they might do something that might... force the coach into maybe dropping someone else. From there, we can even get another kind of Benjamin Frederick from the reserves. So, but we need to look forward to the round of 16 game. I know it's good to take the game as it comes, but we need to be looking at the round of 16. Let's not have a case, just as we were talking here in the studio, let's not have a case where we conquer the group and we get eliminated there in the round of 16 or even the quarterfinal. The goal for every Super Eagles fan is try to win the AFCON. Let's use that to clean a bit of shame that we are not going to the World Cup. Let's understand that at least we are African champions. So I feel I know football is not played on paper, but I feel the Super Eagles stands a better chance. Whoever faces the Super Eagles should be understanding that you're not just facing a Nigerian team. You're facing a team that can actually cut it out there in the biggest stage, there in the World Cup. Irrespective of the fact that they couldn't make it to the World Cup, but this is a Super Eagles team that can beat some teams, some European teams. The likes of Kosovo might beat Sweden, but might not be able to beat the Super Eagles. That's how football is. And I would have loved to see the Super Eagles team in the World Cup, but let's use the AFCON and at least take ourselves a bit higher because where we are